Good morning, dear participants. We welcome you to the orientation program being organized by the Committee for Members in Industry and Business of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. I now welcome the chairman of this committee, C.A. Ranjit Kumar Agarwalji from Calcutta, to kindly take on the mic and then deliver his welcome address. Thank you, sir.
Good morning to everybody. Very respected our council colleague Anuj Ji Goyal, my vice chairman of this committee, Raj Chawla Ji, my very learned director of the various campus placement and council member, Vishal Doshi Ji from Baroda, Gyan Misra Ji from Ghaziabad, and we can also see our Umesh Bhai Sharma from Aurangabad. He is the coordinator of Nagpur Center, and my very efficient and very productive secretary of this committee, Ragnathan Ji, and all the newly qualified members of this profession. First of all, my congratulations to all of you for clearing this CA examination, which is perceived to be one of the hard nut to crack, and you have cracked that examination. So my congratulations to all of you. Friends, we are having this orientation for the second time for those members who could not be selected in the larger center, and now we have the 12 smaller center, and you will be happy to know that in the smaller center also the kind of response we have received from the various corporate. In the larger center there were 143 company, we have offered 11,000 vacancy. In the smaller center 194 company has shown interest, in which 66 company are unique, which they have not come in the larger center, and the average pay package they are offering more or less 10 lakhs rupees, and the vacancy they have said almost 5,000, 4,954. So I think it is the second chance to all of you for getting enrolled in these company when they are going through the recruitment process. And friends, as you are aware that our CA course is designed in such a way that the chartered accountants are not working as an accountant from 10 to 5. They are working as a CFO, CEO, and they are sitting in the boardroom. The kind of training, the kind of knowledge, the vast subjects they have gone through, the kind of the knowledge of the CA, and the kind of the interest shown by the corporate world in our, it's a huge, because we have profession by these corporates. So my compliment to all of you, and don't lose your heart whenever you are selected or not selected, because the kind of degree you have. One small example, in an interview, one of the interview asked 10 questions. Out of 10 questions, most of the questions the candidate could not answer. So then the interview asked, why I should take you in my company? So the answer the guy has given, on the basis of the answer he was selected. He said, sir, I may not be knowing what you have asked right now, but the kind of learning and the training my institute has given to me, I can learn, I can adopt and deliver in the fastest possible time. On this one line, he was selected. So that is the adaptability, that is the persiveness, that is the knowledge we are perceiving. That's why we are a chartered accountant. And we always used to say that there must be a purpose in life. There should be a passion to achieve that person, and you should be the persuasion should be there, how to achieve your passion for the purpose. So these are all the newly recruited, newly qualified members. My compliment to all of you. As far as this committee is concerned, we are also having another campus placement in the month of May. Those who could not be recruited this campus, we are running a very effective CA job portal. That portal will again, we are leveraging to the highest level, so that each and every query of the member can be resolved in the fastest possible time. We are also planning to have a campus. We are requesting the company to have a campus for work from home concept, because this is the new concept. The corporates are also interested. So we are inviting those companies who are interested to recruit the member, where then they can provide the work from home culture. This committee also have a various customized program for the member industry with the IMs, Indian Institute of Management. We have MOU where most of the industry member can have the customized program in association with the ICI. And institute is also very soon coming with the MOU with the Harvard University, wherein sitting in Delhi or sitting in India, you can get the degree of the Harvards with the passing of some criteria, examination and paper, all these things. So my compliment to all of you for this campus placement, second time in a smaller center, and I hope you will come out with the victorious. As usual, you have come out in the CA examination, even if you are not selected. It's a huge professional opportunity I can perceive in this corporate world. Whether it's a practicing or a corporate world, huge professional opportunity are running for the chartered accountant. So please don't lose your heart. Be confident, because your confidence will decide your fate and future. I wish all of you best of luck. We have been joined by various directors of the various 12 center in which all the chartered accountant council member who are director of those campus placements are with us. They will also guide you how to be victorious in your future career. So thank you very much for joining in this morning. I wish all of you best of luck.
Thank you so very much, CA Ranjit Kumar Agrawal ji, Chairman of the committee. I now request CA Vishal Doshi ji, member of our Central Council from Vadodara and also Program Director of Rajkot Campus Center, to kindly deliver his address. Thank you, sir.
Thank you and good morning to everybody, all the newly qualified chartered accountants, my council colleagues on the screen, Ranjit Bhai, Chairman of this committee, Raj Bhai, Chairman, Gyan Bhai, Anuj Bhai, Umesh Bhai, Sri Priya ji. It is indeed a pleasure to address youngsters, and to be very honest, that is why I am sitting here in a t-shirt in front of you. Friends, Ranjit Bhai has already given a great kickstart to this interactive meeting, I would say, the orientation. I would just like to highlight a few points, especially to our young budding chartered accountants. One is about the passion, that whatever you do, wherever you go, please ignite that passion in you. That is very important, and that will take you long wherever you go. You know, I have always observed that for anything that I am very passionate about, what we typically say, what you do from your heart, you know, you do everything to ensure success comes your way as far as that activity is concerned. So like I would say, just like passing the CA exams, there might have been some hindrances, some hurdles here and there, but you were passionate, you had that goal in front of you, and you decided that come what may, you have to clear the CA exams. And you did everything. You would have missed parties, you would have missed your favorite TV shows, you would have missed cricket matches, you would have missed family functions, get-togethers, everything, but you ensured that you would qualify. So this is what I would request you in your life, wherever you go, wherever you are, whatever you do, please ignite that passion in you, and definitely success would be yours. The next thing I would like to share with all my young brothers and sisters is the 3 words of our institute, that is independence, integrity and excellence. Again, the same thing I would say, that whatever you do, please keep these 3 things in mind. Let us say you are in practice, you get an international placement, you are in industry, or you become a CFO, whatever level, wherever you are in future, just keep these 3 things in your heart. Excellence, independence, integrity, whatever you do, please keep it within these parameters, and I can assure you, you will have a comfortable night's sleep, and definitely you will also be successful. And last but not the least, I would request everybody, please spend 3 hours in a week to give back to the institute. I know you have just become chartered accountants, but going forward, you will realize the value of the brand CA. And I think you already know that. That is why you put in some efforts to get this qualification. And I would request that please pay back to the institute whatever you would be is because of the brand CA, and just spend 3 hours a week in whatever way you can contribute back to the institute, wherever you are, be it a branch, your study circle, writing articles, whatever best way you can do, please contribute back to the institute. Thank you, and I wish you all the very best for your future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, CA Vishal Doshi ji. Sir, we now request CA Gyan Chandra Mishra ji, our Central Council member from Ghaziabad, and also Program Director of Noida Campus Center, to kindly deliver his address. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, very respected Secretary of CMIB, Rangnathan ji. Very distinguished Chairman of CMIB, C. Ranjit Agrawal ji, Vice Chairman C. Raj Chawla ji, my elder brother from Ghaziabad itself, and of course very senior council member of ICIC Anuj Goyal ji, Chief Vishal Doshi ji, a very learned council member from Vadodara, my brother from Aurangabad CA Umesh Sharma ji, Madam Sri Priya, very learned speaker on various topics, and of course the future of the profession, the newly qualified chartered accountants. Friends, I have few points to discuss with you very quickly. The first and foremost is the future of the profession lies in your hands. Well said by someone that each and everyone is brand ambassador of the profession. Need not be you are in branch, in region, in council, but whatever you do, the society eyes that. So first thing you please bear in mind that the profession is yours and you must be very particular, very honest, very integral and integrated to the profession because this is yours profession. And we have to understand that each one has to contribute to make the flag of the profession higher and higher. The second thing that I would like to discuss with you regarding the discipline. Wherever you go in the life, discipline matters a lot. So my humble request to all the newly qualified chartered accountants, and of course, you are going to take lead in the profession as well as in the entire economic arena of the universe. Hence, be very disciplined, be very objective, be very result oriented. The second thing is this. The third one that I would like to discuss with you, as well discussed by Vishal Bhai, the hallmark of the profession lies in the three miracle words: excellence, independence, and integrity. And trust me, these are not just words. These are the guiding light for the profession. Until unless you are excellent in the work and you have integrity regarding whatever you are doing, you can't succeed in the life to the apex level. So again, I reiterate that we must observe all these three guiding lights for the professional upliftment and of course our own development as well. Friends, sky is the limit and moreover, sky is not the limit. So we have to keep on flying. We have to keep on raising the bars for ourselves so that if we raise the bar for ourselves, certainly we will raise the bar for the nation building and of course for the each and every stakeholder of the society. I will not take much time as we have a lot of professionals and of course mentors over here who will guide us. I really congratulate to the committee, Ranjit Bhai, and I am really thankful to the committee, Ranjit Bhai and Raj Bhai, for giving this opportunity to interact with the best brains of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, CA Gyan Chandra Mishra ji. We now request CA Anuj Goyal ji, Central Council member from Ghaziabad and also Program Director of Kanpur Campus Center, to kindly deliver his address. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, G. Ranganathan ji, our Dynamic Secretary of this very, very important committee, CMIB. We are having CA Ranjit Kumar Agrawal ji, very prominent Central Council member from Kolkata and the chairman of this committee. I think the way he is leading this committee by example, it is something really great. CA Dr. Raj Chawla ji, Vice Chairman of the committee. And we are having CA Gyan Chandra Mishra ji, my brother from Ghaziabad itself. Madam Sri Priya ji from Chennai. CA Umesh Sharma ji, Central Council member from Aurangabad. Vishal Doshi ji from Baroda. And of course, our newly qualified chartered accountants. A very, very good morning to all of you. I'm really very happy that I am the part of this orientation program. And let me tell you, our newly qualified chartered accountants are far better chartered accountant than all of us who are sitting here for the orientation of all of you. You have studied more accounting standards. You have studied more auditing standards. You are having knowledge of the better technology or the IT. And let me tell you, friends, the chartered accountants are the best accounting professionals across the globe. There is huge demand of chartered accountants in each and every part of the world. Knowledge process outsourcing. I think the way the knowledge process outsourcing is coming to in India, I think it is something really great, whether we are in industry, whether we are in practice. I think n number of chartered accountants are now occupied in serving other parts of the world, sitting in our country. And I was just seeing that practically the number of chartered accountants required and the number of chartered accountants available are more or less are at par. And in addition to this campus placement on the smaller centers, Ranjit Bhai and Rajji has organized the next campus in the month of May itself for the left outs. And then we are trying our level best to see that how the campus placement, specifically for the work from home, can be there. And friends, we are trying our level best to see that on continuous basis the campus placement should go on. We will be having the platform. Through that platform, the demand and supply can be matched, because after joining also you may try to switch over to any other industry, any other segment. So that platform should be made available, and Ranjit Bhai and Raj Chawla ji and all other Central Council members and the part of the CMIB are trying their level best to have a very, very effective platform through which even the corporates who want to engage the experienced chartered accountants and the chartered accountants who want to switch over can also use that platform. And I'm quite confident that all of us will really do wonders. You are the brand ambassadors of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And recently that some amendments were there in the CA bill. I think a lot of news must be there here and there. But you see, this is the importance of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. That government and the regulators and the stakeholders are expecting a lot from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and the members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants. And we are competent enough to come up to the expectations of the government, of the regulators, and more particularly of the stakeholders, of the investors, of the poorest of the poor of this country. I'm quite confident that all of you, whether you will be in industry or in practice, and the chartered accountants are doing wonders, not only in industry or practice. They are very, very good in industry as an entrepreneur. They are doing wonders as an educationist. And I am quite confident that all of you will certainly see that not only in industry. I know Ranjit Agrawal ji must be watching me, that why Anuj ji is trying the chartered accountants to take away from the industry. But let me tell you, friends, the chartered accountants can do wonders in each and every walk of life, and the world is watching towards the newly qualified chartered accountants for their contribution in each and every walk of the trade and industry, in each and every walk of the life. All the best to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, CA Anuj Goyal ji. We now request CA Umesh Sharma ji, our Central Council member from Aurangabad, and the Program Director of our Nagpur Campus Center, to kindly deliver his address. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning to all my senior professional colleagues and council members and my young friends. Today I am going to speak on only 3 points. Number 1, our motto is our strength. Ya esha saptesu jagrati. So please be awake in every situation. And now, to be awake in every situation, presence of mind, and the presence of minds come from our own chairman Ranjit sir. रंजीत सर का जैसा नाम है वैसे आपको भी काम करना है, हर रन को आपको जीतना है. And your boss will be there like sir, and you should be having trust in your boss in every company wherever you join. Then we have राज चावला जी. राज चावला जी जैसा आपको राज करना है, उनके नाम के जैसा कंपनी के ऊपर छा जाना है. इतना काम करो कि कंपनी बोले कि यार क्या बात है कि आप सही में राज कर रहे हो. Then you must have professional brotherhood like Anuj sir. Anuj sir का नाम है younger brother. So in wherever you company go, you must have professional brothers with other CAs and make a very good conversation with your team in the company. then you must be like ज्ञानी, knowledge. ज्ञान चंद मिश्रा जी जैसा ज्ञान आपके पास में हरदम होना चाहिए. Even after passing of CA, you must learn and grow the. लाइक विशाल सर, बड़ा विशाल गोल आप रखिए कि सीएफओ बनना है कंपनी का और कंपनी को आगे लेके जाना है. एंड बी स्मार्ट लाइक सुप्रिया मैम. वेरेवर यू गो, बी ड्रेस लाइक सुप्रिया मैम. एंड वेरेवर यू सी yourself in your mirror after joining the company, be like a professional chartered accountant and be dedicated like our secretary Rangnathan sir. So this is the presence of mind, and you also have Durgesh Kabra sir right now. And sir, thanks for joining. So dear friends, now after presence of mind in every phase of life, I want to give you the last example, because it's a second chance for the joining the company campus interview, it is said. But what I feel, that Tendulkar failed 3 times. He was out 2 times 0. Then he went to the brother that I don't want to go to cricket, I want to go for tennis. So the brother said, no, you are made for cricket, you can do it. And then he became the legendary cricketer. So our institute is there with you as a brother. You don't lower your confidence, you will grow in your life, and we all will help you out. And this committee is working hand to hand with you all. So best of luck. Have a nice day and enjoy your job.
So thank you so very much, sir. That was CA Umesh Sharma ji. We now request CA Durgesh Kumar Kabra ji, our Central Council member from Mumbai, to kindly deliver his address. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Respected Chairman of the committee, K. Ranjit Agarwal ji, the Vice Chairman Raj Chawla ji, my all other council colleagues, Umesh, Anuj ji, Vishal, Sri Priya, and Gyan Chand Mishra ji. These many I can see on the screen. If somebody else is also there, please feel that I have taken your name. See, my dear friends, this is the second orientation for all of you by the Committee for Members in Industry and Business. And why it is there that some of you have not got the chance to get an appointment from the various companies. But as is told by Umesh, dear friend, that don't lose your heart, continue your efforts. This is going to make the difference. And I am sure, friends, if you are confident enough, then you are going to make the difference. It doesn't make any difference if you fail 10 times, 15 times, 20 times in getting a job. Your focus should remain for that particular thing for which you have decided to achieve in your life. आए हो निभाने को जब किरदार जमी पर, आए हो निभाने को जब किरदार जमी पर, कुछ ऐसा कर चलो कि जमाना मिसाल दे, कुछ ऐसा कर चलो कि जमाना मिसाल दे. So friends, you have to focus on the things, on the goal which is coming out of your passion. And if it is not done by you in that particular fashion, you don't convert your passion into your goal, then probably you may not get the confidence which you want, and ultimately will not get the success which you want in your life. So friends, for doing all these things, what is needed is you need to know first yourself, what you are, what kind of nature you have, and why you are, what ultimately you want to achieve. If you have answered to all these questions, I am confident that you will also become confident. You will be doing wonderful tasks, and you are going to get a great success in your life. With realization of one's own potential and self-confidence in one's ability, one can build a better world. This is being said by Dalai Lama. So, it is necessary to understand yourself first. Why you are there and who are you and for what you are. And once you understand this, this is going to make a lot of difference. And you also need to change the limiting factors of your belief. Your belief has to be broadened. You should not limit. मैं ये नहीं कर सकता, मैं वो नहीं कर सकता, मैं ऐसा होगा तो ये हो जाएगा, वैसा होगा तो ये हो जाएगा. Please avoid all those things. You can do whatever you want. And when you decide so, when you cut out, throw out your limiting factors, then it is going to make a lot of difference and you will be successful. You'll have the confidence and whatever you are going to do. So friends, it is my humble request to all of you, don't lose confidence, don't lose your heart. You always have to think that you are meant for this. You are a person of this kind which you want to have. You are a person whom everybody trusts. You are a person who is worthy of loving. You are a person who is always on the right time. And you are the person who is good enough to achieve whatever you want to achieve in your life. And friends, all these are possible when you keep yourself fit. That is most important. Correct? Mindset आप एक बार कर लेंगे, लेकिन आपने अपने आप को फिट नहीं रखा, स्वस्थ नहीं रखा, तो ये सारी चीजें माइंड में भी नहीं आएगी. So you need to be fit enough and continue exercise, physical or mental exercise, both, which is going to make difference. It will make you feel better, and when you feel better, good thing comes into your mind, good ideas comes into your mind, and confidence gets boosted. That again makes difference, and you become the confident one. Friends, get rid of toxic influences to boost your confidence. There can be many toxic influences. If you got any Debbie Downers in your life, how about any one-uppers or emotional vampires? Please leave them alone and forget दुनिया क्या कहेगी आपके बारे में. लोग क्या कहते हैं, क्या कहेंगे लोग, यही है सबसे बड़ा रोग. Forget about this and you are going to be successful when you don't care of others and you focus on whatever you want to do. Accomplish the goal and celebrate your success to increase your confidence. जब भी मौका मिले, छोटी से छोटी सफलता भी है आपकी लाइफ के अंदर, तो उसको सेलिब्रेट करिए. सेलिब्रेट नहीं करेंगे तो आपको सेल्फ मोटिवेशन कभी नहीं आएगा. सो यू नीड टू सेलिब्रेट. मंजिल के आगे बढ़कर मंजिल तलाश कर. मिल जाए तुझको दरिया तो समंदर तलाश कर. तो फ्रेंड्स, आई एम श्योर जब समंदर की सोचेंगे, दरिया मिला और समंदर की सोचेंगे तो दरिया भी मिलेगा. With this, friends, I know I have a limit of 3 to 4 minutes. So I think I am completing those 3 to 4 minutes. There are many which can be shared with all of you as far as the motivation is concerned, as far as the confidence building is concerned. But I'll restrict myself at this place, and I would say that you should have the confidence. And when you have the confidence, whatever you want to achieve in your life, I'm sure, friends, you will achieve those things in your life. Thank you very much, Chairman, for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this online orientations for all those young chartered accountants who have passed recently. However, they couldn't be offered some job, but this is the second opportunity, and I wish all the best to them, and I'm sure they'll get the job. Not only the job, in future they will be creator of the job. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, CA Durgesh Kabra ji. We now request CA Shripriya Kumar Madam, who is our Central Council member from Chennai and a Program Director of Coimbatore Campus Center, to kindly deliver her address. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Sri Ranganathan. My esteemed colleagues in the Central Council, CA Raj Chawla ji, CA Gyan Chandra Mishra ji, Ranjit Kumar Agarwal, who's the pivot of this program, CA Umesh Sharma, CA Anuj Goyal, CA Vishal Doshi ji. Here's a very, very hearty good morning to all of you, and a specially hearty good morning and a huge congratulations to all the freshly minted chartered accountants. We're all old currency now. You're the new currency that's going to, sort of rock this world. So, and I'm also extremely delighted that Ranjit Bhai has invited us to speak in this program. I really don't know, after listening to Umesh ji and every other speaker, and of course to Anuj Bhai and Durgesh Bhai, whether whatever I say, is it going to make anything extra, or can I be this dramatic like they have been? But nevertheless, I will just take a few minutes to share a few of my insights. I mean, this is the time for, a lot of advice that you get, some of which you may choose to pick and implement in your lives. And I'll tell you what's worked for me. One thing that's worked for me is to stay curious. It was Steve Jobs who said, stay hungry, stay foolish. Yes, it's very important. As children, we're always curious. We keep asking our parents, what is this? What is that? But somehow after we finish a professional degree, we stop being curious. Your CA degree is not the end of your professional education or your education. I think today, knowledge is not just power. You have this proverb that says knowledge is power. I think knowledge is life today. Look at what's happening in Ukraine. Look at what's happening in Sri Lanka. What are currency wars? What's happening to the Amazonian rainforests? What's the net result of medical students coming into India because of the Ukraine issue? What's happening? What is petrodollars? What's the US trying to do? Now you might think, oh, why do I have to do all this? Because I think every single activity in the universe today has an economic impact. And you as a chartered accountant, look at real estate investment trusts, the REIT companies. It's only 3 years. Can you catch up there? I think there's just so much to be known in this world. And so you have a choice. You have a very nice smartphone, and I'm sure most of you will upgrade to the latest one after you get your new salaries. So you can use your fingers either to go into Instagram and spend a lot of time, or you can Google looking up to read intelligent and interesting stuff. Now that's the first thing, is to stay curious. And what gets you by being curious? We don't want intelligent chartered accountants. We have enough intelligent chartered accountants in this world. And as Mr. Gurumurthy, somebody whom you must look up if you haven't already, you need to be an intellectual chartered accountant. So what happens when you become an intellectual chartered accountant? I actually loved the way Umesh ji described this whole sequence of life in terms of our names. And let me tell you what my name stands for. It stands for Shri Priya, which is, Shri is Lakshmi and Priya means somebody whom Lakshmi likes. I have been, God willing, reasonably lucky with my name. But what's very important is, when Saraswati is there, Lakshmi will follow. So you must always get that knowledge which comes by curiosity. That's point number one. And secondly, have you ever wondered, we keep talking about honesty. If I were to be very serious on a particular issue, it's this. I think it's not just honesty, it's integrity. It's one or many, many levels and layers above honesty. Integrity means, what you say, what you think, and what you do are the same thing. And that's why it's called integra in Latin. So these are the two broad things I wanted to tell you. And how do you start implementing these broad things? Very simple. Please read the newspaper every day. Every single person who's made it big or reasonably big in this world, or is happy with himself or herself, reads the newspaper every day. And I think that's a brilliant start point, and it helps you to pick up from there on. Everything else, communication skills, articulation skills, presentation skills, will all follow if you have enough knowledge. The second is, how do I maintain integrity? Let me tell you this. the chartered accountancy profession today is expected to be at the cutting edge of trust and integrity. If a common man makes a mistake, they say, oh, he's made a mistake. But if you as a chartered accountant make a mistake, they say, oh, all chartered accountants make a mistake. Today, please remember that you carry that badge, and that badge is very valuable. They will also say, so-and-so's son made a mistake. So today, the institute is like your mother. It's like your mother body, and more than a mother body, your mother. So please be extremely conscious and careful of any act which is not in line with integrity. If today somebody might say, you do this, otherwise you'll lose your job. Tell them it's fine for me to lose my job. I don't have a problem. And have huge trust in this fact called good karma. If you do good, and if you continue to do good, good will come back to you. And with these very, very short words, and if any of you is coming to Chennai, please do drop in and take your leave, and wish you all the very, 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 very best for a rocking future. Thank you very much, and thank you, Ranjit Bhai, once again. And a special thanks to Mr. G. Ranganathan, who's coordinating this program as the secretary. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, madam. We now request our Central Council member from Hyderabad, Sri Muppala Sridharji, who is also the program director of our Ernakulam Center, to kindly deliver his address. Sri Muppala Sridharji.
Yeah, thank you. Very good morning to all. Thank you, Ranjit Bhai, Raj Chawla Bhai, and all my colleagues in the council. First of all, let me start with congratulating all the newly qualified members. And you people will be the face of the profession going forward. And indeed, it's a bright movement and a great opportunity for you. And I know the emotions what you people are undergoing. But we always feel when we all qualified, we didn't have this opportunity. You're lucky enough that our past council members, everybody has developed our institution and created such a platform where now you got an opportunity to face the campus or corporates in our campus itself. Now, in this situation, let me share a few thoughts of my experience that will be helpful. First and foremost, you are at the start. A well planning and a proper retrospection of each candidate's ability at this point of time will nicely give a kickstart for your career. And don't go with the feeling that somebody has to hire you. Always believe in your talent. While selecting the companies or while attending the interviews or accepting the offer, don't go by the brand name, don't go by the pay scale. See, down the line, an year or two, all pay scales will be here and there, one and the same. So don't get carried away by the initial thought. I only request you, please assess. Each one is a specialized person. Everybody has a specialized skill. Only thing is, we are waiting that somebody has to recognize that. No, you are the best judge of yourself. So try to introspect, try to assess what is your skill. Some has a good drafting skill, some has analytical skill, some have a traveling, moving with the people, listening. So like that, each one of you have certain specialized skills. So please introspect that. Then see the nature of activity of the corporates which are offering or where you are shortlisted or attending interviews. Identify which is the most suitable one. Don't get excited when you are selected by more than one. Don't get disappointed when certain things are rejection. Rejection doesn't mean that we are not useful. Some bigger opportunity is what are waiting for us. Today I can say that a lot of things I have learned in my life, not when I got a success, when I got a rejection. Because that helps us to come back, rethink, redesign, and plan for a much bigger way. That is the second thing I would like to say. And the third point I would like to say is to build your career not on a short-term basis, on a long-term. Don't see that I got a more 1 lakh rupees, I got a better branded company and all. No, build it on a long-term basis. Say it's about 30-35 years of your career. Now, what exactly you want to do? This, treat it as a start point. Because I was reading one book, the top 10 businessmen who are successful or the top 10 successful people in the world, the field in which they are successful is not the field where they actually started with. So that means what? In the initial days, we are trying to have a search of where we start and where we can put our footprints. So therefore, treat it as a starting part. Treat it as a starting. In this, my only request is give utmost importance for your character. I mean to say, don't go by what my friend selected. Don't go by which is a branded. Don't go by the pay scale or don't go by somebody's judgment. Please establish your own character. Don't always be an S-boss person because an S-boss person, boss himself doesn't like. Because the boss also knows whenever anything is said, he always accepts it. No, don't be of that category. If you think genuinely certain thing is missing, no, be bold enough to tell that. He is the one who is recognized. So mold your character and build your character. Future opportunities completely depend upon how you groom yourself in the next 3 to 5 years. So highest importance for your characterization. Certain things which your conscience is not permitted, never ever take up. Don't do with half-hearted. Second thing, this point of time, so many questions will come into your mind. Should I go to practice or employment? Should I stay domestic or abroad? There is nothing like a 100% correct option. No decision is correct or wrong. Only the output of the decision will tell. At the start point, if everybody knows which is the correct decision, nobody will take wrong decisions in the world. So therefore, there is nothing like right or wrong. Which you feel it is confident, please take up. But one thing is, when you are always at a crossroad of which decision I should take it, always go forward. Don't stay back. Because there are two ways of leading a life. Leading in one way, what if something happens to me? Thereby we live in a fear. What if I lose a job? What if I don't get in? What if I have some health issues? So this way of we create fear among ourselves. This is one way of leading the life. The second way of leading the life is, this is the only one life I have. This is the only one life I have. And when somebody else could achieve anything, I can comfortably achieve the same. All that matters is, am I ready enough to take up the challenges or not? Challenges may have a pressure, but that is the area where it will teach you. That is the area where you enjoy. So whenever you come across in the coming days, yes or no, always say yes. I have seen out of my past experience, 8 out of 10 times you will be succeeded. Maybe once or twice there is a risk. Without taking the risk, we don't move forward. So please lead the life as if that this is the only life. And the third thing is, life should be holistic. Don't get carried away that now I want to invest 15 hours for the profession, 20 hours for the profession, nothing like that. One should have a proper family life. One should have a proper friend circle, social life, and professional life. When all these things are balanced, I'm saying the growth in you, the efficiency in you will be much, much higher. So please give importance to that. Don't give up certain things in your life. Make sure that you continue that one. The last factor I would like to say is, socially and family, be responsible. All of us are part of a society. My house is very good in the community, but rest all houses are disturbed. Then even I can't stay happily. So we'll be happy only when our entire community, economy, all things are happy. So everybody of us has some responsibility. Not exactly in the same way, whatever possible from our end. Maybe in the form of financial contribution, maybe in the form of your knowledge contribution, maybe in the form of your efforts or presence contribution. Make sure you are socially conscious, socially contributing. That will really be helpful. And family consciousness, it is your parents. Never ever forget them in your life. See, from today, probably you are independent, you have your own earnings. But never forget the roots from where we started. Without those starting steps, we would have been not what we are today. Never in our life forget the people who have given you a helping hand. Because of those people, we are here, and you should be a helping hand for somebody else in the future. And parents, I'm saying, never ever forget. Give them maximum happiness. They don't expect anything financially from you. Your happiness, a word from your side, a small call from your side daily, and some days go with them, share with them and come. This is the minimum thing what we can do to a parent. Never ever get carried away. I know. Probably going forward, you may see a better world than what your parents have seen, but that doesn't mean that we have grown up. It's all about their sacrifice is what which brought us here. We need to value and give utmost respect to that. So with this, I wish you all the people who are attending the campus placement, be a brand ambassador to the institution. Don't go by fear. Faced with, I'm saying, courage. I'm saying, opposite person sitting and doing an interview to you was also one day a campus interviewer, or I mean to say one of the person who attended a campus interview. Only thing, he has a little experience than you. Be bold enough, be straightforward enough, be honest enough. Make sure that our flag of the economy and the profession flies high. I wish you all the best to the candidate, and I hope you come out with flying colors. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, CM Uppala Sridharji. We now request CA Charanjot Singh Nandaji, our Central Council member from New Delhi, and also Program Director of Chandigarh Campus Center, to kindly deliver his address. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Ranganathan ji. My apologies, there is some network issue, therefore I'm able to put on my video. So I can see so many of my colleagues On the dais, C. Ranjit Agarwal ji, C. Raj Chawla ji, Anuj ji, Sridhar ji, Durgesh ji, Vishal Doshi ji, Sri Priya ji. And above all, I am not able to see, but young chartered accountants who have qualified now and looking for fruitful employments. My dear friends, I was very patiently listening to what people said. My colleagues advised you about your way of life. I could listen what Mopala Sirdar said because I was very focused at the time waiting for my turn. I can tell you one thing very candidly. Life is an experiment. The more experiments you do, the greater results you get. Don't get in tune to one specific thought process. My first advice to you is to create your own Sunday. People who have excelled in life are people who could fight adverse situations. Please understand. I am told that many of you would not have been able to qualify in the campus. Look at the brighter part of it. If you are not selected, God has something better for you. Think, if Bill Gates could do his school, do his graduation, do a degree, where would he be today? Think that if Thomas Edison was a bright person, he would be a bureaucrat working in some organization, drawing fat check, but he could have invented the things which he has invented. Think of Graham Bell. Think of the visionaries. Life have created value and worth simply by traversing on adverse paths. Have faith on God. मैं खुदा का नाम लेकर पी रहा हूं दोस्तों. मैं खुदा का नाम लेकर पी रहा हूं दोस्तों. जहर भी उसमें हुआ तो दवा हो जाएगा. जहर भी उसमें हुआ तो दवा हो जाएगा. When God is with you, don't worry. God has been so kind. It is so difficult to become a chartered accountant. I am reminded a person asked a chartered student of chartered accountancy, how much money does it take to become a chartered accountant? The boy immediately answered. He said, पैसे बहुत कम लगते हैं लेकिन जवानी सारी लग जाती. I give the English version also. He said that money is less involved, but entire youth is diminished in becoming a CA. You have become a chartered accountant. You have your dreams, and God has been so kind that you are one amongst close to 350,000 people who could qualify to this great position since 1st July 1949 when our institute was set up. So my dear students, please at one point of time also, don't feel let down, don't feel depressed. God is with you. Second important thing, believe in your destiny. Destiny will shape and create everything for you. Be honest. Be sensible. Hone your technical and communication skills. Understand how you have to write. Understand how you have to speak. Understand how you have to look at people. Not more than that. Everything will fall in its place. God is very kind, very magnanimous. People, if they move in the right stance, grow very high. I'll give you an example of two young gentlemen who joined an organization. The organization was Tata Steel. One's name was Balakrishnan, the other was Ranganathan. Not our Ranganathan, but he was another Ranganathan. Both joined at a salary of 3,500. After a yearly appraiser, they were at 4,500. After 3 years, both of them were 8,000, and Ranganathan left to join some other company, and Ranga got a hike of 40%. But Bala continued in Tata Steel. His wife was very upset. Why are you continuing? There is so much demand. Why are you not leaving this company? And approximately 15 years from their joining, Bala was drawing 2 lakh rupees and Ranga was drawing close to 15 lakh rupees. Look at the difference of 13 lakh rupees. And it continues at the time when they retired. Bala was getting a salary of close to 35 lakh rupees and Ranga was getting a salary of close to 90 lakh rupees or crore of rupees. So, in your opinion, who was correct? Who was right? Was it Bala who devoted his life to Tata Steel or Ranga who kept on hopping jobs and getting a salary hike? Every layman would say, yes, Ranga was smart. Ranga was smart only the tune that he got 1 crore rupees at retirement. But Wala was so smart that he got 14,000 crore rupees by way of ESOPs when he retired. This is life, my dear friends. This is life. God rewards you from various corners, and therefore get involved to the job which is attuned to you. Third important thing, technology. You have to change with changing times. You can't afford to remain attuned to what you were doing 20 years from now or 10 years from now. Technology has changed our landscapes of life. Technology has become a reality and we are using it at every facet of life. My dear younger brothers and sisters, use technology to its brim. Move yourself, create yourself to become technology savvy to such a level that along with a chartered accountant, you are termed as a technocrat. The fourth is your willingness to perform. One thing if you see in winners is that they have full faith that they can achieve anything. If you don't feel you can't achieve, you start your battle with a losing heart and you lose. It is ultimately the bent of mind. It is ultimately your perspective that creates things. When he was hanged, it was close to 7 o'clock in the evening. The International Treaty of Prison says that a person can only be hanged when the sun is rising. But unfortunately, when Bhagat Singh was hanged, the sun was not rising. It was not stagnant. It had set in. The executor came and told Bhagat Singh, he said, Bhagat Singh, it is time for you to be hanged. Think what Bhagat Singh would have done. A normal person would have started crying. He did nothing. He got up, hugged the person, thanked him. Now the executor was in a fix. He said, why are you thanking me? He said, because I always wanted to lay my life on my motherland and today that time has come. And saying so, he picked up a piece of coal and wrote on the wall. I will tell you the Urdu version and the English version. What did he write on the wall? He wrote on the wall, कुछ इस कदर मेरी फितरत से वाकिफ है मेरी कलम. कुछ इस कदर मेरी फितरत से वाकिफ है मेरी कलम. इश्क लिखना भी चाहूं तो इनकलाब लिखा जाता है. इश्क लिखना भी चाहूं तो इनकलाब लिखा जाता है. The English version is that I have attuned my mind to such a level, my pen knows my mind. My pen knows my mind. Even if I want to write love, it writes revolution for the country. Please understand, you have to create and attune your minds to move up to the greatest level. And the last thing which I would like to refer to you, tell you, is family is everything. I'm not a guru who would give sermons to you. It is to boost your confidence. People who have been highly successful in life have highly been attuned with their nears and dears. I see on the dice, I will not name for certain reasons, but there's a gentleman who's a chartered accountant on dice who has called his mother-in-law to live with him. A greatest thought process. People live with their mothers. But calling a mother-in-law is the greatest virtue which a person will have. This is when you love people with the same eye. Your parents, the parents of your spouse are very important. My dear friends, people who have respected their family have risen very, very high. The reason being that your emotional quotient is always full. In your life, you need a propeller to let you move. In your life, you need something good that good factor will always drive you to excellence. Throw away depression. Be with your family, your parents, your friends, your brothers, sisters, your cousins. Live with them. Enjoy life. You're not on a punishment tour here. You have to enjoy life. And God has rewarded you by making you a chartered accountant. Times may be difficult, but you should not be difficult. Keep enjoying life. Keep loving life. So I want to thank the chairman and vice chairman for giving me patient hearing. Let me tell you very candidly, these types of program go very high in framing your career. I was told that number of students have not joined. I don't want to say anything about them, but I want to compliment you. because people who join are people who gain. So you will be gaining immensely in life. Have a true movement towards life. Create value, create worth. Be a proud chartered accountant and always ensure that the flag of our mother institute, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, keeps flying at unprecedented heights. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you so very much, sir. We now request CA Dr. Raj Chawla ji, Central Council member of our institute and also Vice Chairman of the Committee for Members in Industry and Business, to kindly deliver his vote of thanks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, CA Rangnathan ji. Good morning, members. Good morning, my council members. And good morning, my younger brother and sister, newly qualified chartered accountants. First of all, I am thankful to the committee for member in industry and business for giving me this opportunity, and especially thanks to CA Ranjit Agarwal ji, the chairman of this committee, to present a formal vote of thanks. So I am thankful to CA Ranjit Agarwal ji for giving me this opportunity. I am also thankful to my council members, CA Anuj Goyal ji from Ghaziabad, CA Vishal Doshi ji from Vadodara, CA Gyan Mishra ji from Ghaziabad, CA Umesh Sharma ji from Aurangabad, and special thanks for describing the characteristics of all the members in a very beautiful way. I am also thankful to CA Sri Priya ji from Chennai, CA Durgesh Kabra ji from Mumbai, CA Charanjot Singh Nanda ji from Delhi, और इनके बोलने के बाद तो कोई बोलने के लिए बचता ही नहीं है, and CA Sridhar Mupala ji from Hyderabad, and my newly qualified members from Bhubaneswar, Chandigarh, Coimbatore, Durgapur, Ernakulam, Indore, Kanpur, Nagpur, Noida, Rajkot, Thane, and Visakhapatnam. So, good morning to all of you. First of all, I want to share that our institute was established on 1st of July 1949. The date of before the adoption of Constitution of India, that was on 26th January 1950. It means we are so important to this nation. That's why our past President of India, Shri APJ Abdul Kalam Saab, said that chartered accountants are partner in nation building. So we are so important to this nation. Also, saying of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, that chartered accountant signature is a testimony to the trust in the truth. And also saying of Shri Ratan Tata, businessman, I need MBA to run my business, but I need CA to teach MBA how to run the business. One more, saying by Kumar Mangalam Birla ji, that CA is not a certificate or a degree. It is the pride of my life. So, friends, we are so important to this nation and this community. Secondly, our former finance minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley, he said that chartered accountant is very difficult to pass and law is very difficult to fail. In an official statement, he said. So, my friends, you have passed this a very, 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 very difficult exam. Even 1 month before, our Honorable Supreme Court of India has mentioned that chartered accountants exam are very difficult and they are very genuine in conducting their exam. So friends, as I am also the vice chairman of this committee for member in the industry and business, and everybody knows that in the last attempt, November 2021, around 14,000 members, newly qualified chartered accountant passed this exam. And out of 14,000, around 10,000 applied for this campus placement. And you will be happy to know that against this 10,000, our enrollment, we have 11,500 demands from across the world, across the India. And the pay scale varies from 6 lakh to 30 lakh. So, in these days, chartered accountant in short supply because of the globalization of the economy of India. So don't worry, if you are not selected in any campus, then there are various opportunities available for all of you. One thing more, our member Sripriya said that you have to be updated every time. So friends, I am sending daily updates to our members. If you need updates to tune your knowledge or subject, you can send me the request on my email, which will be available from the website of ICI, or you feel any difficulty, then you can also contact our chairman, me, or our secretary of this committee. Also, Sri Priyaji said that CA degree is not the end. I want to mention that I have taken 10 degrees. I have passed CA, CS, ICWA, LLB, MBA, DISA, MICA, PhD. So friends, you have not to stop here that I have passed CA and that's the end of my qualification. CA is like you have prepared the pizza. You can make various topping on this. So you have now background to pass. You can pass any exam of the world. So you are so important. So once again, I am thankful to all of you for joining this program, and I am also thankful to Ranganathanji for organizing this a very, very, very beautiful way. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Raj Chawla. We welcome our speaker of this first technical session, CA Maitri Swaminathan, Head Finance, Guardian Life Insurance Company. Welcome, ma'am. We are just closing our inaugural session, and I thank all my council colleagues who have joined from various locations to guide our newly qualified member. And next 1.5 hours, we have 3 very eminent personalities who will guide you how to achieve something in life, how to conduct yourself. So thank you very much, friends, all of our council colleagues, and for joining and motivating our young members. And over to Ranganathan. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, sir. And we are very grateful to our Central Council members, our chairman and vice chairman, for taking out time on the morning of a weekend to address our students. So we now start with our technical sessions. So before I hand over the virtual dais to CA Maitri Swaminathan, a word of introduction about her. CA Maitri Swaminathan is currently heading the finance function for the India operations of Guardian Life Insurance Company. She has an innate ability to manage processes and to bring out the best in people. After spending more than 25 years in the oil and gas and EPC industry, CA Maitri brings her rich experience in finance, accounts, mergers and transitions to the insurance sector. Prior to this role, CA Maitri has served as the regional controller for the Asia Pacific region in Flo Daniel, one of the world's leading EPC companies. She has also worked in Kazakhstan as Director of Strategic Investments for Castroy Services. She began her career with Indian Oil Corporation after completing her CA and CS as a rank holding student at both institutes. In fact, she secured ranks at both inter and final levels of both these institutes' tough examinations. So the virtual dice is now yours. Over to CA Maitri ji.
Thank you, Mr. Ranganathan. And good morning to everyone. And first of all, I'd like to thank the Institute for this opportunity to speak to the young students. It's really my honor and privilege to stay connected to the younger generations, and I'm forever grateful to the Institute for continuing to give me these opportunities to connect with the young generation. So thanks a lot for that. And I understand, there's the whole lot of people that are with us today, are folks that have qualified just recently. So first of all, congratulations to all of you. This is one of the toughest examinations, and it sets you up with the right professional base and the right academic qualification for success throughout your careers. So I think that is one thing that everyone on this session should be immensely proud of, you are now chartered accountants from one of the most prestigious institutions in the world, which is the CA Institute of India. And I think that by itself is something that should give you great encouragement, that you stand on a platform and you have already got a base that is far higher than many people in this country have the privilege of having. So with that base, I think what can happen in the future can only be for the best. So with that, I want to start the session, and my focus during today's session is to arm you with a few tips on how you should approach interviews. Because I know while the CA Institute gives a lot of training and a lot of education to all of us while we are doing our articleship in terms of, how we deal with clients, how we approach audits, how we analyze data and things like that. But perhaps the opportunity to interview only happens when we qualify as chartered accountants. And though we've got, all of this base in terms of technical knowledge, in terms of ability to deal with clients and all, the very thought of interview, when I go back to my days when I had freshly qualified, the very thought of the interview was something that made me slightly nervous at that point. And so, thinking back to those days, I decided that today's session should perhaps be structured around how we can arm you with some tools, techniques, tips on how to approach interviews. So with that background, I'm going to share some very, very practical tips on what we all can do to make interviews not something that we should be nervous about, but on the contrary, something that we can enjoy and something that we can learn from. So the first thing, like I said, we need to get this nervousness about interviews out of our mind. We need to stop thinking of it as one transaction which is going to lead to the future. Interviews are not a transaction. Interviews are an opportunity. And I would encourage you all to think of interviews in that manner, where they are an opportunity to learn, to grow, to explore ourselves, and to build relationships. And with that, that's the first tip I have, that, how do you make an interview less transactional, and how do you walk the journey of learning, displaying your curiosity, and taking that opportunity of an interview to build relationships. So the first thing that many of us think about when we talk of interviews is a CV. And I'm sure you've all made your CVs. Now here is what I'm going to talk about, which is very different from how you approach it. You first make your CV, then you share it with potential employers, and then after that you attend the interview. I'm going to turn it around. I think the first thing is that a CV is very transactional. So I'm going to ask you to think about the CV after you walk a certain journey. And the journey that I encourage you to walk on is first understand yourself. What is it that I am seeking? What do I want? And that is a very, very important question. The world today is changing, and it's changing immensely. The last 2 years of pandemic, the world has changed, and we've all seen it changing in front of our eyes. We never thought of virtual exams. We never thought of virtual working from home. But, that's the change that we've seen within the span of 2 years. Your careers, as you start being chartered accountants, is the next 50 years. And so I think, we need to first understand, what do we want out of the next 50 years of our life? So in that, what do we want out of the next 50 years? The journey begins with understanding ourselves. What is it that I want out of my career? So there are multiple options. And as a chartered accountant, I think all of these options are open and available to us at all times. So the syllabus of chartered accountancy arms us with the knowledge of finance, accounting, taxation, cost accounting, company law, mergers, acquisitions. These are things that I have myself had experience with in my career. And the only thing that helped me walk that path of doing all these roles successfully was the fact that I had the basic academic knowledge. But each of these paths sometimes takes us to a different place in our careers. So we need to ask ourselves, what is it that makes me happy? And, I spend my time and at work interviewing a lot of youngsters. when I interview them and I ask them, what is it that you want to do as a chartered accountant? I often see that they have not asked themselves that question. What will make me the happiest, as a chartered accountant? Which stream is it that I feel the most excited about? So do I feel most excited when I work on taxation? Because that's a completely different line. Or do I feel happiest when I'm, finalizing the accounts for a company, looking at the balance sheet, looking at the P&L account? That's a completely different line. Even within taxation, indirect taxation, direct taxation, looking at GST, all of that, each of them could lead us to a different career path. On the other hand, do I like doing consulting? Do I like advising companies on, understanding their drivers and advising them on where they should strategically take their company to? That's a totally different path. Do I like cost accounting? Because every industry needs, their financials interpreted and seeing whether each line of business is profitable by itself or not. So is that a line that I feel most excited by? So I think it's a question we need to ask ourselves, that what is the line that excites me the most? In this, I think, I would encourage you to fall back upon your articleship experience. It's the most enriching experience that at least I had, because it gave me exposure to each of these areas. It gave me exposure to a wide variety of clients. And with that, you have the ability to understand that, in doing which activity did I feel the most happy? Did I feel the most passionate? And that is where I think, our journey begins, where we decide that what is it I want to do. Apart from that, various other things in the journey on exploring yourself is, what kind of company do I like to work with? What industry? There are various industries, and in understanding the industries, there are many ways that you could understand industries, and in that I would encourage you to read newspapers, to talk to colleagues and seniors who are working with various companies. That helps you and gives you an understanding of various industries. Also, do I want to work for a large company, a small company? Do I want to work for a company that has multiple branches that allow me the opportunity to travel? Do I want to work for a company that is placed in one location because I don't feel happy traveling? My own answer to that question is, I don't enjoy travel, so I like working for a company that allows me minimum travel. So I think it's an important question that you need to ask yourself, that what is it that makes you happy? Do you want to work for a multinational where you will be able to travel multiple countries? Are you happy just staying at home like me, and therefore looking for an opportunity in a company that allows you the ability to stay put in one place? So I think that journey of yourself, what do you want, is very important. In addition to that, what are your values? What are your motivations? What are your strengths? What do you have to offer to your employer? These are some things that you should think about. And if I have to think about these things myself, sometimes I tend to get a little complacent. So in this, I encourage you to take the help of some friends, some trusted relatives who can go with you on your strengths, on your what you have discovered yourself, and give you validation whether what you have discovered about yourself is true or not. So I think that journey of yourself is very, very important. We've started getting some questions from the participants, and one of the questions from Astha Gulati is, how do you improve communication skills? So we were just talking about our strengths, our weaknesses, and one of the strengths or one of the areas of improvement each one of us might have is our communication skills. One thing that I would like to share with you all from my experience is that I have worked with various countries, in my past role where I was responsible for Asia Pacific. I have worked with China, I have worked with Philippines, I have worked with Malaysia, Indonesia, Korea, Japan. And of course, I have worked widely with Indians. I have worked with people in Kazakhstan. And the interesting thing is, everybody has communication skills where they are able to convey the ideas, their thoughts, and their drivers to others using words. The only difference that I have seen is that the words may be with various different languages. And I think we as Indians are very blessed. Our primary education has, encompasses at least some basic knowledge of English. I think, working with various other countries, I have realized that as Indians, our grasp over English is far better than people that reside in various other countries. So I think we should take pride in that, and we should never allow ourselves to be held back by our own thoughts of my communication skill is not good. Most people I have interviewed have very good communications. The only thing is the communication skills may be interpreted in a different language than the language that I am comfortable in. For instance, I'm talking to you today in English, but maybe the candidate I'm interviewing has fantastic communication skills, but maybe not in English. And, English is a language that can be improved, and everyone can do with that improvement, including Shashi Tharoor for that matter. So I encourage you to take confidence in whatever communication skills that you have and work on improving them. They are not necessarily something that should hold you back. So there's also Mayank who's asking about articleship, that is there any disadvantage if articleship is done other than an audit? I think articleship done in any format is immensely valuable. I think everything that we learn, because it's a stage where there are no expectations from the individual on what they will deliver. It is an open platform for us to learn and to absorb. It's also an open platform for us to discover ourselves. So I think whatever field that we get exposure in during our articleship, whether it's audit, whether it's taxation, whether it's even during an industrial training in a company, whatever form that articleship brings, I have seen that it translates to a lot of knowledge on the workplace for people. And so please value the articleship experience that you have, whether it's an audit, it's in any other area, Mayank. I think it's immensely valuable. And I also have Akshay Jain who wants to know how to start a career in investment banking, particularly when this was not part of articleship training. So that's where I'm coming to, where I say you explore yourself. The next step, let me complete, Akshay, and I think you will get an answer to your question. So once you explore yourself, you understand what it is that you like. And, perhaps Akshay has understood that he wants to be in investment banking. There may be others who have other such aspirations of where they want to be. After that, I would say the next stage is to explore. So after you have explored yourself, the next stage is to explore the world. What is it? What are the options that are available to me? So that is very important that we understand what are the options. So even within, for instance, a narrow field like investment banking, what are the options? Who are the players? Who are the various companies that are in the field of investment banking? What does the role of an investment banker do? So this, many times I used to call it research, but sometimes what I've experienced is when people hear the word research and they say research your options, they go into Google, do a 20-minute research, and they say, here are the answers. I don't mean something as narrow as research. What I mean is explore. It's a much wider term, explore. And what does explore mean? Explore means that you link with people, you talk to people. You find out what does your job entail? What does being an investment banker mean? So if you ask those questions, and if you happen to meet somebody who's an investment banker, ask them the question, what does it mean? Like, what does your day look like that you're an investment banker? What does it you do every day? When you ask those questions, the answers to that will let you validate whether the choice that you're making is truly what it is. Because there are many words that are many fields that sound very glamorous, and we are drawn to it. But oftentimes what we realize is what the job has to offer is something totally different. So I would encourage you to try and connect with somebody in the investment banking field if that is your interest, in the accounting field if that is your interest, in mergers field, and in whatever field that you are interested in, connect with people. They may be seniors, they may be people with just maybe a couple of years more experience than you, and they may be really experienced. But it's important to connect and understand what they do. Now, what does this do for you? One, it gives you an idea what the job, entails and what it means to do that kind of a role. But the second thing is also it builds your connections. So on the subject of connections, I have seen that many times people just send a LinkedIn invitation to somebody and their number of connections on LinkedIn grows to be maybe 500 or 1000 or whatever. And they say, I have a lot of connections. While LinkedIn connections may be connections, what I think are true connections are people who are willing to teach you. And and it sounds very daunting when you say, how do I get somebody to be my teacher? How do I make someone with experience in, whatever field it is, how do I make them my teacher? How do I make them my mentor? So again, here I will say that, don't be transactional. Just sending a LinkedIn invite is transactional. Be curious. So when you connect to a person, when you meet them, ask them questions. What do you do? What is it you like about your job? What skills are important to do the kind of job that you do? And listen to their answers. And when you listen to those answers, something very powerful happens. What happens? What happens is they also respond in a very positive manner because you are showing interest in them and in the content of what they do rather than in their job titles or rather than in their power to make things change for you. Your connections are not there to make things happen for you. Your connections are there to provide you information, to provide you opportunities. And that is where when you interact in this manner with your connections, then they are more willing to help you. They are more willing to share information. And that helps that building stronger relationships, that helps building the bonding where you're able to share your aspirations with the person. And one other advantage this has is that, a majority of the vacancies, almost 3/4 of the vacancies are not really advertised. They are filled by word of mouth. And when you start building these relationships, what happens is that you have the ability to channelize those relationships and to get a foot in the door for vacancies that are not advertised. So when I mean explore yourself, when I mean explore the world, I mean to do it in a manner that is curious, in a manner that you're able to learn, in a manner where you're able to build true and genuine relationships with people. So, and a lot of times it seems very challenging that I don't know people. I don't have the confidence. How do I talk to them? But what I say is that, it doesn't matter where you start. One day you have to start and think of it as a matrix with time on one axis and with learning and connections on the other axis. Wherever you start, the curve is going to go upward, right? So what I encourage you to think of it, don't worry about where you're today. Just take it as a journey in learning, a journey in curiosity, where through learning about the content of other people's work and learning about what they do and learning about how they grow, in learning about what are the skills that they bring to the workplace, you're growing your knowledge about the field that you're interested in. And you're also growing the depth of your connections. And slowly that curve will only grow where you're learning and your connections grow. So you need to start somewhere and make the beginning there. And each conversation then will progress to a new and a higher level. So those are the first two things. And then the third, after doing that, after you know what you want, what is it that makes me happy? And after having the knowledge of whatever makes you happy, what does that job entail? And gathering the knowledge about that. The third thing and the final thing after doing all this is to make your CV. And the CV has to then be tailor-made and custom-made for that kind of a role. So Akshay, I hope, if you want to start a career in investment banking, I hope that answers your question on how to approach that. It does not matter if it was part of your articleship training or not, but if you follow this method, then I'm sure you will find success in that. We also have a question from Vidhi Sahal, who wants to know how to match growth with the impact on pay. So this is a very interesting question, Vidhi. And, I ask this to a lot of candidates I'm interviewing. And my question is, if you're given the, three things, is it money? Is it job content, or is it job title? Which one will you choose? One of the three. Most people say, I want to choose job content. Then I say, then if I give you a very, very nice job content, but I don't give you money, are you going to be happy? And then that's when people backtrack. So I think it's important for us to understand that, of course, money is important. But what is also important is to enjoy our work, to have the right content in the work, and then the job title, of course, comes last. So when you talk of growth, growth is in a couple of dimensions. Growth in terms of your learning, growth in terms of your position in the hierarchy in the organization, and growth in terms of your pay structure. These are three dimensions of growth. As you begin your career, my personal choice has been growth in terms of learning, growth in terms of expanding my horizons. And once that happens, automatically what happens is you are given recognition within the organization. When that happens, your growth in the hierarchy in the organization happens. Once the growth in learning, growth in hierarchy happen, the growth in salary has to follow. So that has been my approach to how to match growth with the impact on pay. Vidhi, I hope that answered your question. We also have a couple of other questions. Let me just go through it. Ruby Singh has answered that how to decide what area to go to. As a fresher, I'm not sure what interests me or even what are the opportunities available to me. Ruby, I think a lot of information is available today on social media about various fields. So the first thing would be, go into social media and gather information on the various fields that are available. Once you do that, when you read, say, the newspaper, when you read some articles, when you read some professional publications, they're all related to some of these key themes in certain industries or certain work streams and so on. That's where when you're reading all of this, it will trigger in your mind that what is the area that makes you most happy. And, that's where you need to trust your heart. Your heart will tell you where is it that you feel happiest. And once you find that out and once you do that research about, what is it that makes you happy, then the opportunities available will automatically present themselves if you follow that approach of, understanding yourself and then exploring about the area, connecting with people in that area, and then going on to make your CV. So I hope that answers your question, Ruby. Ruchi Pasari is asking, if anyone wants to start a career in information systems audit, even if you don't have that experience in articleship, how do I do it? So for one, the Institute does offer some post-qualification courses on information system audit. If that is your area of interest, I would encourage you to seek additional academic qualification on that. But at the same time, I think I'm being repetitive here. Learn more about the area, try and connect with seniors, colleagues, others who are working in that area, understand what is it that they do. What is information systems audit? How is their day spent? And see if this is your genuine area of interest. And if it is, then I'm sure those connections can be deepened and opportunities will present themselves to you. Chandni, how to get over the fear from the appearance of interview? Chandni, first of all, we are chartered accountants. I think we belong to the elite 1% population of India. Every time you think of that, I'm sure it will give you a lot of confidence. Just look at the stack of books that you have studied to qualify as a chartered accountant. Look, and being a chartered accountant, numbers speak to you. Look through the number of people who enroll for chartered accountancy, at the time of the foundation course, and how many eventually make it through as chartered accountants. And you are all qualified chartered accountants who've made it through that journey. That in itself is a fact that should give you immense confidence. Apart from that, the next thing that will give you confidence is whenever you're going for an interview, learn more about the company. And there again, the internet provides immense, knowledge objects which you can go into, study about the company, and learn about it, so that you're very confident that what is it you're getting into. And at the end of the interview, usually interviewers ask, is there anything more you'd like to know? Things like that. That's where you can ask questions that are genuine. It's important in an interview to be genuine. So, by doing all that research, there will be naturally questions in your mind. And if you ask them to an interviewer during the course of an interview, not only do you get clarification, in that sense you are learning and growing in the interview process, but you are also asking a question that is genuine and that comes through in an interview. So Chandni, that's what I would say, approach an interview not with fear, but with the attitude that this is an opportunity for me to learn. And learn from the interview, grow from it. The result of the interview is secondary. Just the very fact that you attended an interview should be a learning experience. That's what I would suggest. Apeksha is asking a question. Would it be recommended to initially join any domain, even if one is not interested in that field, just to start a career? That's a very personal choice, Apeksha. There are many different drivers and priorities for every individual. But I think if you're not interested and you know that you're not interested in a field, and if you don't have any pressure in terms of, taking up that opportunity, then I think it should be your choice to see whether you want to be true to yourself and wait for the next opportunity in which you're interested, or you want to take this one which is in hand. It's a very personal choice. And I think every individual's personal circumstances will dictate what their choice might be. Thank you, Vidhi. Your thank you message has been conveyed. So thanks a lot for that. Monica is asking a question that during the interview, sometimes we give an answer of all the questions and then we are not selected. What is the reason behind it? So Monica, the interviewer, from an interviewee's perspective, you may have given all the answers. From an interviewer's perspective, they are meeting multiple candidates. So, they might have got more elaborate answers from another person, whatever various different factors that come into play. I think you should focus on factors that are within your control. The interviewer's choice of who he is going to select is not within your control. And so I think it's pointless to spend your time agonizing over things that are not within your control. I think the important thing is to focus on what is within your control, which is how do I conduct myself during the interview. I think a few things you have to be prepared on. Tell me about yourself. Standard question, but interviewers are trying to understand the kind of person you are. They are trying to understand what your passions are, what your drivers are. Excuse me. And sorry. So for that, you have to prepare to answer that question. The answer to that question is not as simple as, I graduated in this year, I did my schooling in this year, and I got so many percentage. It's not a fact-finding mission where the interviewer is asking the question, tell me about yourself. It's more of a trying to understand what kind of person you are. So that's where, where I said understand yourself, that self-awareness, that is hugely helpful if you spend that time understanding yourself, where you are able to present that this is who I am. These are my qualifications, but what I'm looking out of a job is this. And then if you've researched the company, you will be able to say, these are the factors why I think, I will enjoy working for your company. Things like that when you're giving your introduction definitely make candidates stand out. So I would encourage you to go through this journey of understanding yourself and tailor making your resume or tailor making your introduction with that self-awareness. That's going to be immensely helpful for you. So that's what I would say, that what is the reason behind why you're not selected? I think that's beyond your control. Don't agonize over it. Just take control of what you can. And that is controlling how the interview flow happens. Bring your genuine self to the interview. You don't have to pretend to be somebody else. You don't have to pretend to be different. Take your genuine self. There will be questions that are uncomfortable. I will share my own experience. When I was interviewing, panel review extremely senior people from one of the finance of the company, and there were 3 others who were very, very senior people. And they asked me a question which was, between yourself, your family, and your career, which is your first choice? Your genuine self. There will be questions that are uncomfortable. And I responded to that by saying, I'm between myself, my family, and my career, and my job, the first priority is me. They said, what is your second priority? I said, my family. So they said, your career is your last priority? So I said, I won't put it that way, but if my career doesn't make me happy, then, I don't think I'm going to be true to myself by following that. If my career makes my family unhappy, again, I'll not be true to my career by doing that. So in that sense, my career in these 3 choices is last. But as regards how I spend my day, I spend maximum part of my day on my career. So it is extremely important to me. So that's what I said in the interview, and I did manage to clear it. So sometimes it's important to be genuine. It's important to give honest answers and not just hide behind what is the interviewer expecting to hear from me. You're not there to satisfy the interviewer's expectations of what he wants to hear. You're there to share your perspective and to explain that perspective. And once you bring your genuine self to an interview, I think that is very powerful. So there's another question from Monica Deshwal, that do the Big Four judge interview mostly on the basis of communication skills? Monica, I don't know about the Big Four. I have not worked for the Big Four. I think the content of the job and what the candidate can bring to the job content is very important. Communication skills are, to my mind, secondary to the knowledge and to what you bring on the table. Of course, if you can improve your communication skills, there's nothing like it, but I don't think that is the primary driver. Shweta Jain has asked a question that I'm a fresher, and in spite of multiple efforts, I'm not able to get a decent job in Ahmedabad. This is something that is making me doubt myself and my abilities. How do I overcome it? Shweta, if you approach it in a transactional manner, then again, we are going to be judging jobs as being decent or not decent. I think the best approach is, what does this job have to offer for me in terms of learning? And as a fresher, if you approach it with that, every job who's taking a fresher is taking the fresher with the objective of also teaching something, because they know they are taking somebody with no experience. So any employer who takes a fresher is taking a fresher with the approach that they are going to have to teach skills to that fresher. And so if that job has something to teach you, I think it is a decent job in my mind. So I would encourage you to grab those opportunities to learn and to understand what you enjoy doing, and from there to craft your career trajectory from there. I hope that answers your question, Shweta. Shipra is asking a question that if we select a domain in which we have no experience, there are chances that the interviewer will not select as they want an experienced person. How to deal with it? One, interviewers are very, let me use the word smart. Interviewers are very smart in choosing and shortlisting candidates for interviews. If, as a fresher, you have been shortlisted for a position, it means that you fit the criteria for that job. Because if a person did not fit, the interviewer will not spend their time taking an interview. So I think if a fresher has been shortlisted for an interview, it is proof enough that they are willing to select that candidate. So I think, again, we should not think about things that are beyond our control. So what is the interviewer thinking is something that is beyond your control. The very fact that you're shortlisted for an interview means the interviewer is willing to consider you for that position. And please approach it with that, and I'm sure you will face success. There's a question from Pragya. Which option to choose? A, job role which I'm not aware of with a higher pay scale, or job role B which I'm aware of with a lower pay scale? Again, I would say it's a very personal and individual choice. It's a personal and individual choice because, there are some people for whom, based on their family situation, money may be the driver. There's some others for whom money may not be such a big driver and job content is a driver. I think it's a very, very personal choice, and we each need to ask ourselves that question, that what is it that is important to me as an individual? And then whatever decisions we make, we should be faithful to our needs as an individual. Pragya, I hope that answers your question. So I will go on from here that, I was talking about the last step of making your CV. So again, a CV should not be transactional. And how do you make your CV? There are a lot of these days people going to professional CV making companies and getting their CV made on a standard template. My own thought is everyone is doing that and each of those CVs starts looking alike. I would encourage you, based on your knowledge of what you want to do, what is it that makes you happy? And secondly, your knowledge of which industry you want to make. You will have to make a slightly different CV for each kind of job. So if you're going through campus recruitment, that CV has to be slightly different. It has to, because all your competitors for that role are again chartered accountants who are qualified in the same batch as you. So the focus should not be on when you completed your CA and all. The focus should be more on what you have learned so far and how it can help that recruiter particularly. If your interviewer is, somebody in the banking industry, your CV has to be slightly different. It has to focus on maybe a certain experience you had during articleship that will be useful to that employer. So change the focus of your CV and genuinely don't make up things. It's not required to concoct and make up things that are not true. But, based on whatever experience you have so far, if there is something that will grab the attention of that particular employer, then your CV should be tailor-made for that. So I would encourage you to think about the vacancy that you're applying for, research the company, accordingly make connections with your experience so far or your interests. Sometimes we may not have experience, but we may have interest. And that again can be expressed in your CV, that you have interest and therefore you read all these technical publications, these journals that are related to that industry. And that again is something that the employer will find relevant. And if you do that, then your CV will be something that will catch the attention. And that is, pretty much half the battle won. Once your CV catches the attention, they are looking to hear more from you. And that is half the battle won. So that's how I would approach it, not to make a standard CV and approach it as a transactional, competitive, not fun kind of process. Rather, make it a fun process, which is easy, which is entertaining, where you're learning in the process. And interviews will no longer be something that is scary. Shweta, thanks for your appreciation. Shubhi is asking, I did my articleship from a medium firm. What can I do to clear the interview of Big Four? And I also cleared final group in multiple attempts. I know my resume is not good. How can I kickstart my career? Shubhi, I think multiple attempts or whatever, nothing matters. The fact is that you're a chartered accountant today. You're a member of the institute with a membership number that follows in serial with everybody else. And that serial does not follow how many attempts a person did. You are a proud member of the ICAI. Stop worrying about the number of attempts. Start focusing on the knowledge that the institute has given you. And that knowledge is immense. Take pride from that. Prepare for your interviews. It would be helpful if you already know somebody who's working for the Big Four, who's gone through the interview recently, who's cracked it successfully. You can ask them what kind of questions they ask. You can ask them. You can also ask them what kind of work the person does. Because, sometimes the Big Four jobs may seem very glamorous, but, what is the daily content of their job? What are they doing? And does that excite you? That's another question you should ask yourself in your self-awareness journey. And when you connect with people and you ask them, what do you do in your job? What like you're working with the Big Four, how do you spend your 9 hours at work? Listen to those answers and then see how you can tailor make your CV or how you can tailor make your interview to gel with the kind of atmosphere that the Big Fours have. That may help you crack the interview, Shubhi. I hope that is helpful. Namrata, so there are some interviewers who ask that why did you take so many attempts to pass CA examination? Yes, I agree. There are some interviewers who ask that question. First thing, the interviewer has definitely gone through your CV, shortlisted you and called you for the interview. So that means they think that you will fit the job. It does not mean that they have already rejected you. Correct? So if they are asking you the question that why did you take so many attempts, they are asking with a certain active curiosity and nothing more. They are not rejecting you by asking that question. So first thing, don't let that question shake your confidence. That question is not meant to shake your confidence. Don't allow it to shake your confidence. Second, there must be some genuine answer to that question for each individual. What is the real reason that you took so many attempts? There may be some personal drivers. There may be the fact that, you didn't like a certain subject. I would say just be honest about it. Say that, I cleared everything except this subject. This subject was very tricky. And it took me a long time. And that is why I'm applying for this job, because it doesn't have application for this subject. For instance, if you found, I'm just taking a wild example, it may not be applicable to you, but if you found tax difficult and you're applying for an accountancy job, then you can say that took so many attempts because I found tax difficult. And I'm choosing this job because it does not have active tax content. So that way you are you're giving a very honest answer, and you're also saying that whatever it was is not going to be a factor that holds you back in your career growth within that organization. I hope that was helpful to you, Namrata. So, and since we have so many questions on interviews and how do I deal with the interviewer and all that, I want to share one story of Brian Acton. So I don't know if you know about Brian Acton. Brian Acton was rejected when he interviewed with both Facebook and with Twitter. Brian Acton then founded WhatsApp. I'm sure everyone here is using WhatsApp. It was founded by Brian, who was rejected by both Twitter and Facebook. And Brian sold WhatsApp for a valuation of $19 billion. Please don't let rejection hold you back. You all are very, very worthy. It's the reason you've become chartered accountants, and don't let any of these rejections hold you back. Sikruti. Sikruti is asking a question where, being visually impaired, the individual is getting very disappointed when they are not selected. Sikruti, I think it's a very, very lucky employer who will be able to take on a visually impaired candidate. I think the world has changed a lot. My sons go to a school where they have visually impaired children in the same class, and they're studying the same syllabus, and the same teachers teach them in the same class. And I don't see those students being anywhere behind. There are chartered accountants who are visually impaired, and today, my computer has a software which says immersive reading, and it allows the voice to take over and read out documents. So there's nothing to hold back candidates. The world is changing. It is a very regressive employer who's rejecting employees based on disabilities. I think a very progressive employer will not be held back by this. And so when you find a job, Sukriti, it is going to be with a very progressive employer. And I would tell you that have patience and wait for that, because the world is changing and you will definitely find a job soon. Pradip is asking, looking at the job description, sometimes it creates a self-doubt on ourselves whether we will be able to deliver on the same. Can you throw some light on the same for a fresher? So the job description that a company creates is not a job description for day one when the fresher will join. It's a job description for the day when the fresher has undergone orientation, has undergone on-the-job training, off-the-job training, all of that, and is able to perform. So the job description is not for the day that you join. The job description is perhaps for 3 months to 6 months to a year from when you join the company. So I think when you look at that job description, the right approach is to say, these are all the things I will learn within the next 6 months to do. While I may not know any of these things today, but when I get this job and when I'm with that company for 3 to 6 months, these are all the things I will be doing at that time, and I will learn how to do these things. If you approach it with that, then, it's not going to be scary to see a job description, because employer who's employing a fresher is not expecting them to do all those things on day one. Chipra is asking a question. What do you want to be? A small wheel in a big machine or a big wheel in a small machine? Chipra, again, a very individual answer. A very, very individual answer, because everybody wants something different from their own life. Again, I'll go back to the pandemic. We never thought that we could work from home. But now we've realized we can. So do you want to work from home? Do you want to work from office? Do you want to stay in a small town and work for a big company in a metro from home? Or do you want to stay in a metro, work for a small company in a small town? I mean, these are all questions where it's all possible. The entire world of possibilities has opened up. The answer to that question is very individual, that what is it that I want? And that's a question you will have to ask yourself and find and discover the answer to. And I think you will enjoy the journey to finding that answer. Naveen is asking a question that I have done my articleship in mainly tax profile in a medium-sized firm and interviewed in one of the big four in audit profile. But they rejected on the ground that your skills and experience is not matched with the requirements. How do I solve this? Naveen, again, I shared some tips. First, read about what and meet someone who tells you what is a Big Four job, what does it involve, what does their day look like, what are they doing. Once you know that, you will also know that which parts of your experience in the firm that you worked with align with the experience that the Big Fours are looking for. Once you walk that path, then you are better prepared to attend that interview. Attend that interview with that mindset where you explain to them that this is my experience and this is how my experience can help you. Once you take the conversation in that fashion, the entire interview experience will be much more enjoyable and entertaining for you. It will be much easier and hopefully it will have better outcomes. I think, Mr. Ranganathan, we are pretty much at the end of the session. So with your permission, I will wrap up. So I will just once again leave you with my main takeaways from this session, that don't approach interviews as transactional and competitive. Approach them as entertaining opportunities where you can learn and grow. And in doing that, create your self-awareness, learn about which company you're going to interview for. After that, prepare your CV and your introduction. And I hope, with this approach, you will be able to give wings to, whatever it is that you want to do. So all the best to all of you. And I will look forward to hearing from you. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn and share your comments on, whether this was helpful in finding you the right career options in future. Over to you, Mr. Ranganathan.
Ma'am, thank you so very much. It was such a wonderful session as usual. And thank you so much for taking up all the questions that I come till now. So, extremely grateful to you for sparing your time on a Saturday. Thank you, ma'am. Now we welcome our... thank you so much, ma'am. Now we welcome our second speaker of the day, CA Amit Arora ji. As I welcome to you, sir. And before the virtual dice is handed over to you, sir, a small word of introduction about you. CA Amit Arora is an India news anchor, journalist, radio jockey at an All India radio and has over 20 years of extensive experience. CA Amit features and often appears in the national news channel Doordarshan as an anchor. CA Amit has done his graduation from University of Delhi. He holds an extremely prestigious degree, that is the Chartered Accountant. He has been a frequently heard voice on Independence Day, Republic Day, Olympics, cricket commentary and interviews of various personalities. Earlier he worked as a financial management specialist with the United Nations. CA Amit believes that an anchor needs to do thorough research on a topic before presenting it to the audience. The most important thing is to simplify the sort of content in a simple manner so that it becomes easy for the viewers and listeners to understand. Sir, thank you so much for sparing your time. Over to you, sir, CA Amit Arora ji.
Thank you very much, Ranganathan ji, for that kind introduction. And let me say thank you to the Committee for Members in Industry and Business, CA Ranjit ji and CA Raj Chawla ji, respective chairperson and vice chair. I think this is a very good program. And let me say congratulations to all the youngsters who are now part of the Chartered Accountant Club. It's a huge honor. My name is CA Amit Arora. It's been 21 years that I joined the CA Club. It is in my memory as if it happened only yesterday. And you cherish prefixing CA against your name. So I'm very sure each one of you who's now gone on to become Chartered Accountant will realize that it's a huge responsibility. So congratulations to you, to your family, to your teachers, everyone. Now, in terms of once you do qualify, the next question is, how do you contribute to the society? And therefore, one avenue is that you appear in the campus and you work for an organization. So you must be really thankful to the CMIB because they arrange so much for you. And therefore, for all those who are in attendance today, I'm sure that you're going to go back more informed. I have prepared some slides. I hope all of you can see the slides. So look at this newspaper headline. This is the Hindustan Times on the 15th of August, 1947. India independent as the British rule came to an end. This is the headline in the Times of India. Birth of India's freedom. And you would know that the ICI was set up on the 1st of July 1949. And what a coincidence that the ICI Council met for the first time on the 15th of August 1949. So now that all of you have also become members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, it is very essential that we repeatedly rededicate ourselves to the ICI motto, Ya Eshu Supteshu Jagriti, which means that the person who's awake in those that sleep. So that's the expectation of the society, that we'll always be awake, more conscious. And that's why this orientation program becomes very important. Because from 15th of August 1947, when India became free, till 2022, now that we celebrate the Amrit Mahotsav, 75 years of independence, India aspires to be an inclusive nation. India aspires for sustainable growth. And for that to happen, you look at this flyer, the 12 smaller campus centers have an important role to play. So whether it's Bhubaneswar, Chandigarh, Coimbatore, Durgapur, Ernakulam, Indore, Kanpur, Nagpur, Noida, Rajkot, Thane, Visakhapatnam, wherever you are, if you want to contribute to India's aspiration of being inclusive, you have to really cater the CA services to all cities, including these 12 that have been mentioned. So welcome to this session. It's Saturday, 9th of April 2022. It's Durga Ashtami today, so festive greetings to everyone. I hope in your house you are making chole, puri, halwa and you've had a nice breakfast. The topic for my session is count your opportunities. As you can see the picture, if I were to ask you, please count the stars, can you give me a finite number? No. Similarly, when we talk about opportunities for young chartered accountants, you have infinite opportunities. And I mean that. I really mean that. So my name is CA Amit Arora. My Twitter handle is @AmIGood. I would really appreciate that as we move along. If you've got any question for me, please feel free to ask. Anything you wish to share, you can tweet, or you can also write or comment in the chat box that is appearing on your screen. And I request Ranganathan ji to please forward that to me, or you could also pause me whenever any question comes to share what the listeners and viewers are saying. Now, the first question I would want everyone to really address is that when we talk about the larger centers, maybe in India we have knowledge about Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, but India is not only these metro cities. India is all of the 734 districts, every state, union territory. So my first question to everyone who's coming from these 12 centers or applying for a job opportunity there, share more about these 12 centers. So in the comment box or on Twitter, tell us more about Bhubaneswar. Like what I know about it is it's the capital of Odisha. It's the eastern part of India. It's called the Temple City. Tell me more about Chandigarh. Tell us more about Coimbatore. I think many of us may not necessarily know where Durgapur is. So it's in West Bengal, right? It's an industrial town. If you've got some knowledge about that city, tweet or put it in the comment. And I'll request Ranganathan ji to please read out so that all of us increase our knowledge about India. Because remember, as a chartered accountant, we are nation builders. If tomorrow somebody says, okay, tell me something about Ernakulam. If I struggle not knowing which state it belongs to, this is not good. I'm a nation builder. So Ernakulam is in Kerala. So why would I not know more about it? So if I don't know more about it, at least I can ask about it. So share more about Ernakulam for those who know. Indore, it's in Madhya Pradesh. It's the commercial capital of Madhya Pradesh. The political capital, of course, is Bhopal. And not only you should go to Indore for work, you should also go there for food. So there is a street that's called Chappan Vyanjan. You have 56 varieties of food there. Beautiful street. And a lot of business activities happen there. That's why it's the commercial capital. Then you've got Kanpur. Remember in cricket, we've got the stadium Green Park. It's in Kanpur. Now the summers are coming. If you want to have oranges, go to Nagpur. Noida is part of NCR of Delhi. And then you've got Rajkot in Gujarat. Thane in Mumbai. Visakhapatnam in Andhra. It's a port city. But I want you to share more. So if you are appearing for these centers, you should be able to speak at least a paragraph on every city. I'm saying even if you're not appearing for job interviews, as an Indian, we should be knowing more about our cities. So my first question, please tweet or write in the chat box anything that you know about any of these 12 cities. Now, this morning I was listening to the chairman of the CMIB, CA Ranjit Agarwal ji, and he mentioned certain statistics. In case you missed out listening to him, I'm recapping them for you. So, you know that CMIB is a very important committee under the ICI because that's the one that organizes the campus opportunities for you. Now, as far as the larger centers are concerned, 143 companies came in this time. and nearly 11,000 vacancies. And as far as smaller centers is concerned, and now you are appearing in the smaller centers, 194 companies have come, nearly 5,000 vacancies. And what I heard was 66 companies are participating in smaller centers only. Now that's a very crucial aspect. And this essentially means that some of us who have just cracked chartered accountancy, it's not as if I have to only apply for larger center. Just like 66 companies are participating only in smaller center, I could consciously choose a smaller center by my own volition. Why? Because India is not going to become a developed economy if you are only going to make a developed Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai. This is not only 1 or 2, 4 cities are not India. It is going to be a combination of everything. And therefore, 75 years down the independence, if India aspires to become a $5 trillion economy, even a Nagpur has to succeed, even a Kanpur has to succeed, even a Durgapur has to come out. I am saying, have chartered accountants reached Durgapur? Have the services of chartered accountants reached Visakhapatnam? And if the answer is no, and there is more potential in those smaller centers, should I be happy about appearing for my interview opportunity in smaller centers? So first of all, don't look it as a lesser opportunity. Don't compare it. All I'm saying is, when we are aspiring for an inclusive, sustainable India, every center becomes important, large or small. But given the numbers that were shared this morning, this is overwhelming. Ranganathanji, the numbers are very good when it comes to smaller centers. And your take on 66 companies exclusively participating in smaller centers only, sir.
Yes, sir. In fact, the demand for the CAs is quite high, sir, after the pandemic, because we try to drive in to the companies that, when the human body is sick, it requires a doctor more. Similarly, when the industries are struggling due to pandemic, you require a chartered accountant even more. So this perhaps the companies have understood that CAs are business solution providers, so therefore the demand has increased. Now coming
Yes.
to sir, you wanted people to make a comment. Abhishek from Kanpur has replied that Kanpur is known for leather products.
Okay. Very nice. I think that increases our knowledge. So if I'm appearing for any organization, say in Kanpur, you never know. That could well be in the entire supply chain of leather. Okay, keep sharing more on the 12 cities to all the viewers, and I'm sure that we'll increase our knowledge. So the numbers of the smaller centers is absolutely overwhelming. Now look at the difference of what the focus was when we got independent in the decade of 50s and 60s, and now after 7 decades. Earlier we used to say literacy, earlier we used to say planning, earlier we used to also probably hear inclusion and the word freedom, but now in 21st century, the focus is on financial literacy, financial planning, financial inclusion. Look how over 43 crore new bank accounts have been opened in last 5 years under the Jan Dhan Yojana. Now all of this is going to demand more services of the chartered accountants in any city, not just the metropolitan city, the 2-tier, the 3rd-tier, whatever you may call. Every city wants to be part of the developmental bandwagon. Why? Because everybody wants to experience financial freedom now. They would like to earn their money. They would like to experience life. They don't want to work. Everyone does not want to work, till 60, 70 years. Financial freedom is an objective for many now. And for you to fulfill that objective, you need chartered accountants' help. So this paradigm shift of the prefix of financial coming to almost every aspiration means that the work of chartered accountants is only going to increase. We are an emerging economy. We aspire to become a developed economy. You only tell me, with that kind of aspiration, do you ever feel that there will be any lesser work for chartered accountant? No. So congratulations on becoming CA. But I would strongly encourage you that you should consciously, as a choice, pick different centers, reach out to the length and breadth of the nation. Not that all our effort is happening only on a particular city. That way is not going to happen. Look at the cricket also. Earlier, there was a point of time when we have most cricketers coming only from Mumbai, right? Only from Delhi. But today you look at some of these major cricketers. That is also a reflection of mini India. They could come from anywhere. They could come from anywhere, any city, because we have opened up opportunities for every city. And therefore, please understand, the entire wealth creation cycle for you will start from skills. So make sure that even as you prepare for your campus and other avenues, you continuously hone your skills. You should not get complacent that you become chartered accountant as the end of the world. It's the beginning of the journey. So please understand, in any organization that you're going to go, what is the budget? Right? Every person who's aspiring today for financial freedom needs to be told about savings, how to invest, and that will lead to growth. And that growth will then come back again to more skills. So this cycle will ensure wealth creation. More and more companies these days are moving from talking about profit to wealth creation. Individuals also, from profit to wealth creation. Why? Because if an individual only talks about profit or a salary, this is only going to take care of day-to-day expenses, not the long-term strategy. So your salary is only going to take care of your day-to-day expenses. If you want wealth creation, you will find the innovative emerging organizations offering ESOPs, employee stock options. So this is where the wealth gets created for the employees. So even if you are joining any organization as somebody who does the job, you still have to own it. You have to work as if you're a partner in growth for that organization. This is what they want, particularly in the startups. They would like to pick your brains. And CA brings all these beautiful skills. CA is nothing but a core skill set. And what is different in your generation that perhaps didn't exist when 21 years back I qualified. I think Anujji this morning had said that the young chartered accountants are far more learned than the previous ones because you've learned more accounting standards, auditing standards, and technology. So the force multiplier here, or the differentiating factor, is technology. Never ever has it happened in the history of humanity before that at the click of the button, your voice can be heard anywhere across the planet. Today, you could go YouTube live. This particular program of CMIB is also going live on YouTube. So I have a screen in front of me. I can see myself. Can you imagine somebody sitting in America, Europe, Asia Pacific, no matter where they are, North Pole, South Pole, if they have access to internet and mobile, they can watch this program. This is beautiful. This was not possible 10 years back. So technology is a force multiplier. If you today have a mobile and internet, please understand you have infinite opportunities to learn and grow. Count your opportunities. I'm saying you have mobile and internet, infinite. No two ways about it. I was very glad that this morning the chairperson of CMIB shared that they're also looking at the campus where companies can come, those who provide work from home. See how a cultural shift has come post the pandemic. So we are still the pandemic is still there, and I'm sure that we'll take adequate precautions still. And beginning tomorrow, the booster dose is also opening for the 18 plus category. But I'm saying, see how the pandemic has brought in more importance to technology. Even this orientation is happening online, where not only you can connect right now and ask questions, but for those who miss, they can at least view this on the YouTube link of the ICI YouTube channel. Now, guys, as you become chartered accountants, you will realize that life is waiting for you. And life is a beautiful combination of failure, try, success. So please don't consider failure to be a bad word. Don't get overwhelmed with success. Give yourself permission to fail. And failure is a learning opportunity. So I think here it's essential we understand the concept of self-care. The best investment is investing in yourself. You have got the prefix CA against your name. From 49 till now, in over 7 decades, only a little over 300,000 people have been able to do that. So it's a very select elite club. So congratulations on that. But that's a huge responsibility. Make sure that you now study to gain your knowledge. So much to learn. You can learn so much from YouTube videos itself, almost free of cost. ICI organizes so many wonderful sessions. I mean, I tune to most of these sessions, whether I participate them, in a speaker or not, but I would go down to YouTube of ICI and watch these sessions, whether it is on sustainable reporting, whether it is on accounting standard, on any new innovations in businesses. So make sure that you're constantly trying. there is an honest effort to understand businesses, because we are a complete business solution provider. We're a nation builder. We should love understanding business models of the company, right? And while you aspire to join any organization, it is a two-way process. The organization also has to show interest in you. You have to show interest. Sometimes it may not match for whatever reasons. Okay, they may think A is fitting the bill better, so B may miss out. I'm saying that should not mean that you feel it's the end of the world. There are so many opportunities, so many. So please give yourself permission to fail. I think if you don't practice self-love, if you don't practice self-care, it is very easy that when the challenge comes in life, you just succumb to the pressure. Don't do that. CA, challenge accepted. We will fail many times. We will succeed many times. All of this is what is the beautiful phenomena called life. This is what it is. So I hope you're enjoying the journey. Don't take tension. If it's a festival today, enjoy the festival. If you need to study something, please study. If you are not finding any opportunity, create it. Right? Meet people. Connect with people. Connect with technology. Have patience. Things happen. Things take time, but things happen. You are now born in this beautiful 22nd century where once you leverage technology, you are going to get yourself connected to infinite opportunities. Trust me, the opportunities is only increasing with each passing day. What tomorrow will bring, maybe many of us may not even be knowing what all may come, right? So, please understand that we have a certain core skill set, and that is an enabler for us to excel in no matter what we do. But we should commit ourselves in our role as a nation builder, in our role as a complete business solution provider. Now, say for example, if before me the speaker was from the life insurance sector, then you should have asked her the question, what are the opportunities in the life insurance sector? Right? If I ask you a basic question, everyone who's tuned in, who needs a life insurance? Does everybody need a life insurance? At what age should we get the life insurance? What could be the opportunities for a chartered accountant in the insurance sector, whether life or general insurance? So when you have a specialist, don't miss out asking questions that they are best positioned to answer. Okay? So understand it. Now tomorrow you go to an insurance company, one of the interview questions they could possibly ask is, what do you mean when the insurance ad comes and says insurance is a subject matter of solicitation? What does it mean? If you are unable to express on it, I doubt they would be impressed by anything else, because this is something that is mandated by IRDA to be said after every insurance product. So it comes down to common sense. It comes down to observation, that if I am appearing in an interview of any organization, did I observe a particular line that is always said? So in insurance product, I have to observe that the line comes, insurance is subject matter of solicitation. If I don't know what it means, I should ask. When I have a specialist, I should have asked that question. 100%. Ask a lot of questions. See, I'm a journalist. My entire career is only on this particular skill, asking questions. I always have 101 questions. So analyze, wonder. You should always wonder. Look at the sky. You can actually wonder, how does it all operate? It's absolutely fantastic how the nature operates. And nature knows what it is doing. So you should have the courage of taking a decision and taking steps forward. But in life, there will be things beyond your control where, in addition to courage, you need to have faith. So have courage, have faith too. So I had listed this core skill set of us being a nation builder, a complete business solution provider, therefore showing interest in understanding business models, and the basic tenets of common sense, observation, analysis, wonder, and sense of humor, very essential. Ranganathanji, I want to share this particular incident that happened just last week, that how even at the highest level one can showcase sense of humor. So we all know that Joe Biden is the president of the US now, and Kamala Harris is the vice president. So last week, Barack Obama, former president, came to the White House. This was his first visit to White House after he demitted office. So after all these years, he came back, and when his chance came to speak, everybody gave him a huge round of applause, because all these years in White House, he was there 8 years as president before Donald Trump. So he had 8 years in the office in Washington, DC. So when he came to speak, the first line he said was, Vice President Biden. And everybody just laughed. Why? Because when 8 years he spoke as president, he always used to say that, Vice President Biden, and can continue further. But now that's not the case. So everybody laughed, and then he went ahead and hugged Joe Biden, and he said, well, all of this is set up. And then he said, my president, Joe Biden, Vice President Harris. I'm telling you that when one of the core skills said, I want of chartered accountants, of sense of humor, see how even at the highest level, no matter how serious a meeting, you can still bring humor. So do we have any other responses so far?
Yes, sir. We have responses, sir. The CA Chunilal Thakur says Noida is a IT and industrial hub. And CA Srinivasalu pointed out that Vishakhapatnam is a large natural harbour. Then Sikriti said that Bhubaneswar is a city of temples. And there is one question from Ruby Singh. If you would like to take questions, sir.
Yes,
that,
please.
Her question is whether one should prefer a generalized profile like audit or taxation, or one should go for a specialized profile.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for sharing more about the cities. And to answer Ruby's question, I would say that you have to be open to every strategy. If the opportunity is demanding a specialized service, then you could focus on it. But there's no harm in also going ahead with a generalized profile, because say even if I want to do audit, I still should have understanding of accounts, finance and everything. Especially when as a newcomer, you do go to the market, sometimes you really don't yourself know the area of your specialization. It is only after you have delved into a few things that you can figure out that what is it that you are excelling in, or what is it that is interesting you, or what is it where the opportunity lies. So Ruby, remember in soft skills, there is no fixed formula. But if you're not sure of your area of specialization as of now, I would say go ahead with the generalized profile. And I think the response that we had from our young member on the Vishakhapatnam, so if it is a harbor state, we should look at how it could bring opportunities for chartered accountants, right? So you should think through that if Vishakhapatnam is a harbor area, then maybe it could be a port area for EXIM. And you know that we have done very well in export-import in last few years, even during COVID times. So yesterday when the Revenue Secretary was addressing the press, he mentioned the buoyancy even in EXIM area. So with exports also doing so well, how could chartered accountants perhaps provide market intelligence related to EXIM? Can we contribute to data analytics of export-import? How do we get data, say, from CBIC? We are the ones who understand the shipping documents, the bill of lading. How can we tell somebody who's exporting any product or services from here, where does the market lie? Can we help them by identification of the price points? I'm saying there is so much that we could possibly do, even in Vishakhapatnam, that you probably cannot do in Delhi. Delhi does not have any port area, right? Delhi does not have port area. So if I have a liking for, say, EXIM or in global trade business, Vishakhapatnam is the center to go for.
Sir, Mr.
Yes,
K. Ravishankar, he hails from Vishakhapatnam. He has given a lot of insight about Vishakhapatnam. As I read out what all he has written. He says Vishakhapatnam is the executive capital city of Andhra Pradesh. It is also one of the IT emerging cities in India. There are many tourist spots where many films were filmed, such as in Araku Valley, Lamba Singhi, which is popularly known as Andhra's Kashmir, Lord Shiva Temple in Anantagiri Hills, Rushikonda Beach. He said it is also the port city of India, and it also has the famous Vishakhapatnam steel plant, which directly or indirectly gives employment to 50,000 people. So He has written so many things about Visakhapatnam.
Yeah, thank you very much, K. Ravi Shankar ji. I think it is time for the members of the ICI to increase their knowledge about India, about these cities, which perhaps in the initial part of our journey weren't the first priorities. The first priorities probably was the capital cities and some of the other cities. But now we have to look at every city because every city has got certain unique points. So Ravi Shankar ji, this is wealth of information that you have shared. And when you refer to Visakhapatnam as IT hub and also the steel plant there, let me also talk about the gift city in Gujarat. Are you aware, everyone, the young chartered accountants, that we have a gift city, GIFT, and there is the International Financial Services Hub. So entire area has got offices and also residential colonies, and you've got a lot of financial services companies coming there, not just Indian, but even international. So have a look at the website to know more about Gift City in Gujarat. And that will enable you to apply. The best part is that it is not as if when you apply for a larger center or a smaller center or a medium center, there is any big difference. Today, with work from home, whether you are sitting in New Delhi or New York, it doesn't really matter. You could be working from beaches or from mountains or from Himalayas. So long as you're doing your work and giving your outcomes, your employer is very happy that things are getting done. So please explore this possibility of reaching out to areas that require far more attention, which perhaps were not the first priority for India as such in the initial 5 to 6 decades. Okay, I've got one more question here. Surbhi is asking, if I want to work from small town for a big firm, how and where to find those opportunities? So, Surbhi, like I was telling you that even the small town could require certain services. So you can well work from the small town itself and ensure that the basic amenities reach out to everyone in that small town. I, for one, believe that if you are coming from a certain district and if for some reasons in the last 7 decades that district never became empowered and the basic amenities of food, shelter, water still do not exist, rather than flying away from that district and working somewhere else, we should ensure that those amenities come to that district, and CS can play that role.
Sir, CA Jyoti says Indore is famous for cotton handloom industry, and CA Shipra says Kanpur is called Manchester of India, that it has 17 big cotton textile mills.
Okay, that's very nice. So Indore, we have cotton handloom industry. Now look at it from this perspective. Roti Kapda Makan, basic amenities. 75 years into independence, we still haven't ensured that everybody gets access to it. So when we talk about kapda, cotton becomes important. Summers are coming. Okay, so cotton becomes important. So if there is a company in Indore where I get shortlisted, and that is in the supply chain of the cotton, I should know about the fabric and how does this industry move? How does it manufactures the fabric? What is the fashion? What will be the applicability of GST? How will I handle the scrap? So for me, first and foremost, I have to understand the supply chain. And because I'm a CA, I can understand the business in its entirety. Right? Similarly, I should know more about how the weaving happens. Right? How weaving happens. Make a trip down to a factory. See how the weaving happens. So you've got the manual structure, and then you've got the structure which can be used through machines also. Have a look at it. How we can do cost cutting. How we can ensure that the products that are being made, they are cost effective. So correct costing, correct pricing, and then you export it. Can you imagine? And I remember interviewing Smriti Irani ji, she is the textile minister. And when I asked her a question, I remember her telling me that even Bangladesh is ahead of India when it comes to export of textiles. Vietnam, a much smaller nation, is ahead of India when it comes to export of textiles. So I'm saying in India, we had this fabrics and the culture of handloom for years. This is a country where khadi was a symbol of freedom struggle. Why would we then not ensure higher exports of fabric compared to Vietnam and Bangladesh? Because we have not been able to provide it at competitive costs. So how can we cut down on logistics? All of this comes down to finances only. Our quality of fabric and our quality of weavers is fantastic, but we have to make a business model out of it. And that is where chartered accountants will play a big role. So to continue with my slides.
There is one member who wants to know about opportunities in broadcasting field. Vidhi wants to know this.
Yeah. So thank you, Vidhi, for asking me that. Just like I was asking you to ask Maitri about the life insurance sector. As an corollary, that's the right question to ask me. The broadcasting is increasing leaps and bounds. Like I said, never ever in the history of humanity has it ever happened before that at the click of the button, Vidhi speaks and the entire world listens. Now, given that fact and the fact that with YouTube, people want to learn and grow, you could create whatever content you want. If the content is good, you will find a lot of viewers aligning to your content. So Vidhi, the opportunities in broadcasting are again infinite, whether it is electronic media, TV, radio, whether it is the traditional print media of newspaper, magazines, whether it is the social media, whether it is blogging, whether it is digital media like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. There are huge opportunities. All of these are beautiful medium. The key remains, can you create content? Can one create content that can add value to the lives of people? So it could be as simple a content as how to file your income tax return. So how will you guide somebody that go to the portal? How do I register myself on the portal? You can create a 5-minute video. People will benefit out of it. They would know how to go about and register on the income tax portal. Similarly, if from 1st of April 2022, e-invoicing is necessary for 20 crores turnover as well, then how do I create an e-invoice? Simple, 5 minutes video. How does someone create an e-invoice? What is the portal of invoice registration? What is the address? How do I go there? What step do I follow? What is the difference between e-invoice and a traditional invoice? What is the mandatory format of e-invoicing under GST? 5 minutes video. I am saying it all depends. What's the knowledge that Vidhi has? How can she add value to the recipient? And can she create something 5 minutes, 10 minutes video on it? Similarly, films. Look at the films these days. You don't need a bigger star. You can have a young face, a new face. You can still create a short film which can create an impact. So the avenues of media have increased. Look at the OTT platforms. Look at the subjects that they're touching upon. In fact, I'm happy to share that there is a film coming called Income Tax. There's a film coming in November called Income Tax. So watch out for that story where you will find a young entrepreneur who has an income of 600,000 rupees a year. She herself does not know that she is an entrepreneur. Only when she receives an income tax notice which says you have had an earning of 6 lakh is when she connects with a chartered accountant who helps her to meet the assessing officer and run the business with adequate compliances. So, lot of opportunities in broadcasting.
Sir, there is a question from Surabhi. He wants to know if I have to set up my own firm in a small town after about an year, and what should I do during that 1 year as a matter of preparation?
Yeah, so Surabhi, observe the small town to find out the problems that the population of the small town has. How can CA Surabhi using technology provide solutions to those problems? So once you start applying your mind, you have two options. Either to start something of your own, or second, you may already have some organizations working in that direction. Then join that team. If you get some work initially, very good. Otherwise, join as a volunteer, join as an intern, make sure that you start doing some work. And when you start doing some work, you will get to know the next steps. The idea is that how I bring to that small town basic amenities.
Sir, another participant, Shipra, she wants to know how to overcome the fear of rejection and the pressure of being unemployed for a period of time.
Well, enjoy the days of unemployment too, Shipra. They are not going to come again. And once Shipra will become CFO, CEO, successful entrepreneur going forward in life, you will look back this week, 2 weeks, few days of unemployment with great joy. Okay, sometimes you need some time for yourself. So when I talked about self-care, you should know how to handle days when you have no work. It's okay. But make sure that you respect time. Shipra then should utilize that time to increase her skills, to continuously meet new people, to attend seminars like this, to add value to her personality. And regards your question of how to face the fear of being rejected, well, you have to develop sense of gratitude and acceptance. If a particular employer conducts an interview process and he finds A more suited to the role than Shipra, that is perfectly fine. Tomorrow when you become an entrepreneur, you're not going to get emotional getting everybody on board. You're going to get somebody who you feel fits the bill maximum, right? Most suitable. Do not take any rejection personally. Rejection only means that for that particular job, somebody else was far better suited. Okay? Don't take rejection in life personally. Opportunities will come. Make sure that you have learning lessons from the entire experience and you are joyful to improve your personality so that the next time you go, you do better than what you did earlier. Forget about fear of rejection. I would extend and say, Shipra, don't have any fear. Courage is a very important virtue in life. Anyone who's gone on to become someone has always exhibited the virtue of courage. Courage comes when you can control things. If there is a thing that you cannot control, then you have to have faith. So courage plus faith will help you sail through the tide.
Sir, there is a question from Shivangi. Does working from home limit our work exposure?
Well, it's a double-edged sword. It could well increase your exposure too, because working from home, Shivangi, you could address American, European, Indian, every market. However, I believe for an overall personality, it is important that we don't confine ourselves to four walls and just the laptop. Idea is also to meet people in real world, not just virtual world. Just like for education, I was so happy last week to see in Delhi, schools reopening and the chirping of small students going very happily to school. So you want that to happen. So it has to be an elegant blend of both physical and the virtual world. I for one believe, Shivangi, with work from home, opportunities only increase. However, make sure that you do groom your personality to meet people in real life too.
If there are no further questions as of now, sir, if questions come, I'll relay, sir.
So let me then move to the next slide. The next generation, the current generation, the 21st century generation here in 2022 now, believes that they want to become wealthy. They want to own their time. And therefore, you will hear a lot of this word, financial freedom. Okay? Best part of becoming financially free is that it helps you structure your time the way you want. So we had the political freedom on 15th of August 1947. 75 years down the line, the citizens of the country are aspiring more and more for financial freedom. Means that how can I structure my time the way I want? Create my own Sunday, create my own day. Ideally, a beautiful life is one where you don't distinguish much between Sunday and Monday. Not that you have to smile on Friday evening and frown on Monday morning. it's very essential that you appreciate this point, and that will also show you more opportunities, because these basic things of how do I have income, how can I have multiple sources of income, how can I generate passive income, how can I save money, how can I simplify my life, what goals do I have, right? How can I increase my cash flow, how can I cut down my expenditure? All of these are basic questions. And so-called rich people may not experience financial freedom, while a person with limited financial resources may feel free. Sometimes I wonder, with air pollution happening, many people who put health before wealth, which should be the case for most of us, they would rather prefer going down to a smaller center or a suburb or a city in India where it's a cleaner air, where you've got cleaner air. So it's a choice. Financial freedom is a choice. You can earn a lot of money. You can still be absolutely, enslaved. So the point I want to draw across is that, say for example, you want to have passive income. Now, question that we had from Surabhi, Shipra, some of the others, I'm saying if you have time today, right? You don't have any work, you have time today. How about you opening a demat account? How about you borrowing 10,000 rupees from your father, uncle, mother, whosoever, sister, brother, and use your common sense, connect with people, get some intelligence, and put that money into, say, a few shares. How about if you also put some shares, not just in equity, a little bit of mutual funds, and couple of transactions also in commodity. Say for example, if you feel today it's good day to buy gold, okay, or good day to buy silver, and if silver is say 65,000 for 1 kg, you want to buy silver. How do I go ahead and buy? Do I have to pay 65,000? No, because it can also be bought on margin money. So maybe you have to pay only 5,000-6,000 rupees and you get access to 1 kg of silver. If silver from 65,000 becomes 70,000 tomorrow, in a week, 10 days, you can sell it, you gain some profit. I'm saying even if it comes down to 60, you lose money. At least you would have understood how to go about doing the commodity transaction. So you will get passive income with time, but more importantly, the learnings will happen. If you've not done any transaction so far, say either in equity or mutual fund, or say when I was asking who needs to buy life insurance, what's the answer? So the point is, financial freedom, it's a choice. And more people, especially after COVID, have realized there is no point just amassing money. We need to come to a point where we realize that we have earned enough and we need to enjoy life. There's no point becoming unhealthy just for earning money. So right now, even if you don't have any work, you should still be very kind to yourself, exercise self-care, self-love. You are trying your best. There are infinite opportunities. Keep increasing your skills, meet your friends, realize that from independence, the political freedom in 47 till 2022 now, we have traveled a long journey where the country and the citizens are now aspiring for financial freedom, and therefore the role of CA is only going to increase because people are going to ask all these questions. How do I get debt? How do I eliminate debt? How do I manage my finances? How do I invest? And in all of these, CAs can play a big role. Like I said, opportunities need to be created. The best jobs are creative expressions of continuous learners in free markets. So it's not as if you get to a job today and you're going to give your lifetime to it, right? A good employer will ensure that they continuously give you a higher challenge. So the best jobs are creative expressions of continuous learners in free markets. Make sure you are a continuous learner. There is a curiosity in you to learn more and more. And that is what will help you to stand in good stead. So we call someone leader not because they are in charge, but because they had the courage to go first, to risk first, to trust first into the unknown. So who knows that you may have an opportunity in Durgapur Center, Visakhapatnam Center, Nagpur, Kanpur, first of its kind, but it sets the footprint for others to come in as well. Yeah. The other thing you should do is connect with people. Sometimes the word used is networking, whatever way you want to call it, but please understand that it's about giving. So if you happen to know 5, 10, 15, 20 people, that becomes your network. And network is about giving, which means that once you have a certain network, do whatever best you can for giving some value to the network. And when the value of the network increases, every person on the network benefits from it. Say, for example, now you become a chartered accountant, okay? And it's 9th of April today. How about if you know that now the due dates of filing income tax return is coming, okay? 31st of July will be the due date for the individual assessees. How about you talk to your resident welfare association and in your community or a colony, hire a space and do a half an hour session on guiding people on the due date of income tax returns. How about you run them through what the new income tax portal looks like? Similarly, for those who are interested in indirect taxes, how about you do a workshop for traders telling them how to generate an e-invoice? Or how do we register for GST? Who needs to register? I'm saying make sure that you continuously do something, create opportunities, because in the era that we are in right now, that of having an enterprise spirit, all of this becomes very essential. And when people see you performing, when people see you giving 100%, they will certainly show interest in you. You will probably get connected to higher opportunities. So there's a huge merit in networking and adding value to the network. The other thing is, don't do overthinking. Being unemployed is perfectly fine, absolutely fine, because maybe destiny will force you to think in areas where your skill set lies, and you will be pushed into new boundaries that otherwise you were not thinking of. Sometimes we are in comfort zone itself and we don't really explore our potential. But the idea is, don't overthink. Overthinking is to mind what overeating is to body. So don't overthink. I think sometimes our school and college life, they focus only on the technical skills and the curriculum, but there is less focus on issues of mental health and issues of personal finance, issues of overall well-being. So make sure that you're celebrating life. Make sure that you're celebrating the fact that now you've gone on to become chartered accountant, which is a very unique course and a challenging course. And the opportunities are going to come. You only have to have a positive framework of mind. But understand that in the market, when you will go, not that you are going to get yes the very first time or the second time. So it is going to be a highs, lows, this, that. But collectively, that is what makes life beautiful. So keep it simple and enjoy life and experience it. This is what I'll say. Ranganathanji, if there are any questions further, I'm happy to take.
Yes, sir. There is one question from Vidhi. She asks, why are figures the only key focus of professionals?
But they aren't. Figures aren't the key focus of the professionals. In fact, more and more, you will hear about the word integrated reporting. So it is beyond P&L and balance sheet. However, since chartered accountant have the skill set of also quantifying the progress, sometimes the figures are very essential. So after I have done work for a year, how would a business ever know whether they have done well or not? So in that regard, figures have their own importance, that I can know that, okay, this is my balance sheet, this is my P&L. But beyond that, now you will hear Vidhi about whether the organization contributed to the ecosystem, how did they contribute to waste management, whether they contributed to the conservation of electricity. You see the increased emphasis on electric vehicle these days. So what is the composition of the renewable energy that they're using, non-renewable? So more and more focus beyond figures is also going to come. So the impact not just measured as profits, but also in terms of planet and people. Let me share one more story. This is an actor, Surendra Sharma ji. He in 80s did aspire to become CA. He did not become a CA, he became an actor. So I interviewed him last year. So I'll just tell you the first question that he was asked at the National School of Drama. So he's a pass out of NSD. You know, NSD in Delhi is the prime institution for theatre actors. So when he went for the interview, the first question he was asked, and this is 81. He's a graduate from NSD 81 to 84 batch. In 81, when he went for the interview at the National School of Drama, the first question Surendraji was asked, he said there was a jury of about 3-4 people. And he said that I entered through the gate and they had barely asked me to sit. I had just taken my seat and one of the jury members threw a matchbox at him, and that too at a certain pace. He was really surprised, very perplexed. He was able to catch hold of the matchstick. And then the other jury member said, okay, Surendra, without taking any time, can you consider this matchbox in 5 different items? Just imagine this matchbox to be 5 different items and act. So he said that, then quickly he did that. So he said the first item, this matchbox is a sweet. And he acted as if he was eating. Then he said second item, this matchbox was a comb. And he started combing his hair. Similarly, 3 more. This is what he told me in the interview. You can watch the entire interview on Doordarshan's YouTube channel. The point I'm trying to tell you is that this is a question Surendraji was asked in 81. 4 decades down the line, this is still very relevant, that more and more questions they're going to ask you in the interview are going to be based on how do you handle situations of life. So the differentiating factor for you to get through any job, trust me, will not be whether you knew a particular accounting standard or not, whether you knew any auditing standard or not. That all is okay. But how did you handle situations of life? So one common question that is asked these days, can you tell me during your articleship days any conflict that you had with your co-worker? How did you handle that conflict? Right? So what I would suggest, now that you have time to prepare, look back at your journey so far. The life journey of 18, 20, 22 years that you've traveled, and the articleship journey of 3 years. And then take a pencil, take a pen and write all your experiences. And see what were the unique experiences you had. Where there was friction, where there was effortless achievement. Write all of that. When you have your examples ready, when you go to the interview and they pose you life situations questions, narrate your examples. Nobody else can ever share that. It is only you who you can share. Right? It is only you who can share that. So when I interviewed Surendraji, it was he who told me about this incident. Nobody ever can actually say that unless they've been through that. Then he told me he didn't have money during those days. And his father was in police, so they used to stay in police headquarters here in Defence Colony. And Mandi House, where he used to go for theatre practice, was 14 kilometers away. He said because they didn't have money even to catch a bus, he used to walk 14 kilometers. But he said that he never regretted that. In fact, he said during that journey of 14 kilometers, they used to practice their dialogues. By the time they reached Mandi House, where they had to perform theatre, they had already rehearsed their dialogues. So I'm saying that life is a struggle. Never ever will we be able to achieve our life goals without struggle in life. And you have so many instances where you will find that people have grown because of the struggle that they had. So the last slide I want to really put for all of you is that ultimately the focus has to come on you. The focus has to come on you. Because you have to aspire to transform yourself from survival to growth. And that is what will enable an enhanced experience of life. So, Ranganathan ji, if you got more questions, I'm happy to take. Otherwise, we can conclude here.
Yes, sir. One question is very specific to you, sir, from Sikruti. She says, sir, after qualifying as a chartered accountant, how did you end up with a decision to going into media world? She says your answer may give a lot of perspective to think.
Yeah, so Sukriti, like I said, that what each one of us needs to do is focus on yourself. Okay, so like the slide says, you are very important. Every person is, and you have to give yourself permission to have an enhanced experience of life. How will you do that? When you do an honest assessment of the skill that you have and try to write that skill in one line. Okay? Say, for example, for Sachin Tendulkar, that skill will be hitting the ball. Many people can play cricket, but not everybody is like Sachin. So his skill set is hitting the ball. He can hit the ball 10,000 times, still be very hungry to hit it one more time. Similarly, for Lionel Messi, it's kicking the ball. You and I can play football. We are nowhere closer to the way Lionel Messi plays football. Right? So when I did that exercise for me as to what is that skill that I am very happy doing, it is asking a question. So in one line, asking a question. I can ask anyone a number of questions and never get tired. That is why I decided to come to media. So today when I work for Doordarshan All India Radio, I consider myself extremely honored and privileged that every day you really don't know what will make news. And every day is such a new day, meeting new people. Like this week, I had a beautiful experience. So, 6th of April, BJP celebrated their foundation day. It was their 42nd foundation day. So I got a call from the headquarters that if you could please come. And BJP president was interacting with the high commissioners of different nations. So since the common language for the high commissioners would have been English and the BJP president was speaking in Hindi, they asked me to sit in that room. And when high commissioners would ask any question to the president, the BJP president would respond in Hindi. And my job was, after every answer, real time translating it into English. So I did that. And that was quite an experience. So in media, the best part is you don't know what will you do tomorrow because you don't know what will make news tomorrow. So I like that. And I like asking questions. And also remember that when you want to go the next level, right? When you interview more and more people, there is a level of anxiety. Any new opportunity comes, there may be another level of anxiety. You have to improve your version of yourself. Don't let the anxiety get the better of you. Make sure that when the new opportunity comes, the next level opportunity comes, you are also the next level version of yourself. So you should also continuously transform yourself. That's why this slide focusing on you is so very important, that you have to aspire to transform yourself from survival to growth. Survival is only about roti kapda makan. Do that first. But once you do that, you have to aspire for growth, which again is infinite. Because opportunities are infinite, therefore growth is also infinite.
So no further questions are on board.
So I think we can conclude here then. See, there are so many things one can continue to share, but the idea is simple and sweet, that congratulations on becoming a chartered accountant. It is going to be a wonderful journey. When I cracked CA 21 years back, even there were few days when I didn't have any work, right? Now when I look back of my 21-year-old career, those were the only few days when I never worked. And then my first job happened, which was American Red Cross. I hadn't heard of Red Cross till then. And one fine day when I got a call from, I remember this consultancy, and this lady called Ritamba called me. And she says, I'm Ritamba. He says, Amay, would you work for Red Cross? I had never heard of Red Cross till then. But when I got a call, I studied about it. I had an interview of 45 minutes. And the next thing I have is the offer letter from Red Cross, which I still possess. I still possess 17,234 rupees per month salary, 21 years back. And they gave me some finance executive's role. In 1 year, I was able to transfer myself to director finance role with a much bigger salary. And very first month, Ranganathanji, I remember, very first month, May 2001 is when I cracked. And I joined Red Cross after that. Very first month, I think I probably got only one salary, 17,234. And then they gave me the visa for visiting America for a CFO conference. So my first visit to States in 2001, and that visit itself would have costed the company 5 to 6 lakh, which was more than what they were paying me yearly. And I traveled across the globe because of the assignments I got, and that increased my knowledge. So it is not just the money, it is also the information, the international environment, the culture, the new friends that you make. I still, even if today I go to Red Cross, on one Red Cross road right across Parliament, I have so many friends because in Red Cross they say there is no goodbye. Once you are work for Red Cross, you're always a volunteer for Red Cross movement. And similarly, the first job led to the second one. And then I worked for a few years only as a chartered accountant before I realized high time I moved to media. So I'm saying that I would have not known 21 years back how the life will pan out. Because please understand, life is a suspense film. Let it be like that. You really don't know what's going to happen next moment. Forget about next day or next year. So my final word to all the young people who have passed chartered accountancy, you have a Brahma Astra now in prefixing CA against your name. And it's a huge responsibility too. For India, who aspires to be a $5 trillion economy, this aspiration cannot get fulfilled without CS playing a leading role. So just make sure you're healthy. Health is going to be a top priority. Mental health, very strong. Understand businesses and just get going, putting all your hard work. And I'm sure when we will meet again in months and years from now, when we continue to meet, you are going to be very happy and proud of your journey. All the best.
Thank you so very much, sir. It was a wonderful session, sir, as always. And
Thank you.
very, very enriching. And I hope all of our students would have got a lot of benefit out of your session, sir. Thank you so very much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
We look forward to having you again, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. So our next session is from CA Arijit Chakrabarti ji. CA Arijit Chakrabarti ji, you may kindly put your video on, please. Yes, sir. Sir, namaskar, sir. Welcome to our session. So,
Namaskar, sir.
Virtual dice to you. I'd like to say, sir, there are close to 1,000 people who are attending this program today. So they'll all be benefited by whatever previous two speakers spoke and also yourself, sir. They're all appearing in interviews starting on 13th of this month. So before I hand over the virtual dice to you, sir, I'd like to read an introduction to our audience. Dear young members, C. Arijit Chakrabarti hails from Calcutta. He is a management accountant, he is a management consultant and a CA. But apart from that, I would like to tell you what else he is. He is a trained vocalist and he holds 6th degree black belt in karate. He has represented India on the World Karate Championships. He is a trained pilot. He is an author. He is a painter and also a YouTuber. Wonderful, sir. I don't think we have any other member who specializes in so many other fields being a member of the institute. Apart from that, sir, I will also say you are a qualified information systems auditor, certified internal auditor, and you are certified concurrent bank auditors. You are a trained ISO leader. You have experience of more than 24 years, worked in managerial and leadership roles with many organizations around the globe. You have spoken in I will not take out much of your time. Now the virtual dice is yours. Thank you and welcome,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay, so very good afternoon to all of you, and thanks to CA Ranjit Agarwal ji, the chairman of the Committee for Members in Industry, CA Dr. Raj Chawla, vice chairman, and of course our very own Ranganathan sir for kindly inviting me to address in this August gathering. First of all, thanks to ICI and congratulations to all the newly qualified chartered accountants. When we were students, we used to think of CA as CA means come again. Full form of CA was come again. Some people used to say CA means continuous attempt. But now we have understood that CA is much more than that. It is commitment towards action. And as my fellow speakers, CA Maitri Swaminathan and CA Amit Arora ji have given you such inspirations and they have shared their life skills with you. So I am going to take you through the area of professional opportunities. I have a few slides. I'll just try to set the presentation. Just sharing the screen, sir. Sir, is the slide visible? Can you just confirm, sir? Sir, is the slide visible, sir? Raghunathan, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Visible, sir. Perfectly fine.
Okay. Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay. So, yeah, I'll go into the professional opportunities. Now, first and foremost, again, very good afternoon to all of you, and great that the Committee for Members in Industry and Business, they are organizing this important event and getting you ready to face yet another fight, and that is getting placed through the institute campus and getting, most important, being happy in what you do. That is most important. Now, ICI has been a beacon and a differentiator. First of all of us, many of us joined CA, some joined by choice, but some joined by chance. And there are quite a number of us from different academic, professional background. For example, I came from a science background and I was an engineering student at IIT. After that, I changed and joined CA. So different cultural backgrounds, professional backgrounds. The practical training has made us tough. And from there, we have understood the importance of the practical aspect of providing different services, from statutory audit to legal services, from tax to forensic audit and so on. Also, the Institute's industrial training, I'm sure many of you have done industrial training, and this has provided to be a blessing for all our chartered accountants. Friends, one more point is the elective papers in CA. At CA final, many of you took up the elective papers like risk management, like financial services, like international tax, and these will provide you with the guidance to specialize in the coming years. World-class campus. ICI campus is the best. East or West, ICI campus is the best, looking at the type of companies which are coming in the campus, and also if you take into account the fact that in the last 2 years, in spite of the pandemic, our campus has been one of the most talked about campus in terms of the CTC offered, the length and breadth of the companies which have come, and so many centers. For example, the metro, non-metro, the international campus, and so on. Institute is the professional standards body, and therefore, as we move forward, as all of you becoming members of the Institute, the brand ambassadors, I would say the brand ambassadors of ICAI, you also need to follow the professional standards. Recently, many of you, like we had one of my immediate previous speakers here, Amit Arora, comes from a totally different background, media background. Similarly, many of you could think of going into research, education and training. So now the CA courses has received the recognition from UGC, and therefore the area to do research has opened up. Plus, the Institute has been focusing on improving the skills of all our students and members in the area of finance, capital markets, communications and information technology. So dear friends, today the age is to run. And by run, you can see in the slide, run here means reskill, upskill and new skill. So we have to adapt to new skills. And what are these skills? Technical skills and life skills. Ultimate aim is to be happy, contented in our professional career and to contribute to the society, contribute to our alma mater. That is basically the objective. So now that you have all become CAs and about to go for the campus starting in the next 2-3 days, first is industry. Yes, first choice is industry. Majority of the chartered accountants qualifying are joining the industry, and through the Institute's campus, now it is possible to work straight away outside India. Now, I qualified around 24 years back, and those days we did not have orientation and MCS and information technology training. Even the campus was possibly not there at that time the way we have it now. So at our times, things were more challenging, but today with the support from the ICAI, you are getting a plethora of opportunities. Now, some questions which keep coming in our mind is whether to join industry or to join the big seven. Why I'm saying big seven? Because apart from the top four, now we have BDO, RSM and Grant Thornton, 3 of the large multinational firms. So this is one option which people are considering. Second is, many people are asking the question, people who have cleared, they ask the question, now offshore companies are coming in large numbers. Several companies in the campus and outside the campus, they are offering profiles in the area of offshore. Now, many of the recently qualified CAs have this question in their mind. Now, should I go for offshore or should I come to conventional? Should I focus on conventional sectors? So this is one particular point which I'll try to, elucidate further. Okay. Yeah, there's one message from Vidhi Sahal. Oh, Vidhi has said your MCS training, I still remember. Yeah, thank you, Vidhi, that you remembered. Great. Ruby Singh, good afternoon. You may not recognize me, but I remember you very vividly. Okay, great. So you were in MCS December 2018. Great. Thanks to connect back to many of our old friends. Okay. Now practice, sector specific. Well, yes, practice. Why not practice? Now many young CAs are thinking of practice as well. Maybe they are thinking couple of years in the industry and then they'll switch over to practice. Business and startups, why not? Many chartered accountants, you are all watching Shark Tank, and there are so many chartered accountants who are floating their own businesses. And when you have such luminaries like, Boat, the well-known company Boat, C. Aman Gupta, you have so many chartered accountants who are doing well in the business. If we can advise businesses, if we can take charge of the compliances of a large business undertaking, why not think of startups? And here I'll also tell you the ICAI, our institute, is having a startup incubation center. So institute is there with you continuously to support you in all your endeavors. I was talking about academia. Now, all of you know, many of you have taken tuitions, and you know that teaching is now not only the fact that teaching is much sought after. People are running to get good guidance, to get inputs, to get intelligence, to get perspectives. So some of you who have a flair for teaching, I'm sure many of you have even given tuitions while studying CA. So yes, you could get into academia. PhD, many chartered accountants, like if you look at our honorable president of ICAI, CA Dr. Debashish Mitra, he is PhD. The vice chairman of the committee for members in industry and business, CA Dr. Raj Chawla. So there are so many PhDs, doctorate degree holders, even in the institute leadership. So research, and here we have the Accounting Research Foundation of the institute. So this could be another area for many of you. I'm not saying that, everyone need not go for corporate jobs. Ultimately, it's all about being happy and getting a work-life balance. Even several CAs are going into civil services. There are a few DGPs, Director General of Police, who have a CA background. Even one of the past, I come from Kolkata, and in Kolkata in the recent past, one of our police commissioners, he is a CACS and then completed IPS, and eventually from a superintendent of police position, he rose to the rank of commissioner of police. So even civil services, these are the broad areas open to you. Also, see if you can turn your passion into your profession. Now, many of you could be bloggers. Now, blogging, and if you have a strong support base in YouTube, you know very well, much more than what I know about the monetization in YouTube. So turning a passion into profession, you could always start with your hobby and then monetize that hobby. In fact, some of the companies ask you this question in the interview, that can you monetize your hobby? Can you turn your passion into your profession? So then again, you will be the happiest person, because for you, Sunday and Monday will not have any difference. You will be as happy on Sunday as you will be on Monday morning. Now, coming specifically to some career opportunities, as the topic has been assigned to me. Now, before that, I'll also try to tell you about the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India's MRA, the Mutual Recognition Agreement which the ICAI has. Now, it is possible for all of you to get into world-class companies and take your career to global heights. Why? Because the Institute has entered into tie-ups with the CPA Institute in Australia, CPA Canada, CPA Ireland, the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales, and also the MICPA, plus the Singapore Institute. So now it means that as an Indian chartered accountant, if you are getting any job, any employment in any of these countries, could be Australia, Ireland, England, you could also become a member of their institute just by passing one or two papers. The remaining papers will be exempt under the ICAI Mutual Recognition Agreement, which the institute has with all these global institutes. So ICAI has made you not just a chartered accountant, but a global accountant, a global business solution provider. And that is the spirit. That is what you should believe in. from the heart that yes, we have achieved and we have passed one of the toughest exams in the world, and now an even better professional avenue, professional opportunity waits for us. Let us look at the current business ecosystem quickly, and then we will go into the professional opportunities. Shark Tank India, startup coming in large numbers, and there are quite a good number of companies which are coming to the campus, both in the metro campus and also in the non-metro campus, and they are scouting for young, dynamic, knowledgeable chartered accountants like you. And Flipkart is one of them. Nykaa, which you know has gone for a very successful IPO, even they had few requirements a couple of days back. And then second important observation is the series of IPOs. Many of you are investors. You have all seen the successful IPOs of companies like Zomato, for example. And then you know the biggest IPO is yet to come, and that is LIC, which is possibly going to come in the mid of May. Now, looking at the IPO market, you can understand an IPO is possible only when a thorough due diligence is carried out. SEBI has guidelines. Stock exchange listing means a lot of compliances, and compliances means chartered accountants. So now I just request you to look back in CA final. One of the elective paper which was there is financial services and capital markets. So many of you could think of joining the capital market sector as one of the professional areas. For your reference, kindly note that Bombay Stock Exchange, National Stock Exchange and SEBI, all these three institutions have been recruiting newly qualified CAs in the last few years, and this is going to be a matter of pride for all of you. If you can contribute your efforts, your inputs, you can provide services, world-class services in the capital market sector. The next point is the tremendous rise of mergers and acquisitions and valuations. All of you know that HDFC Bank, HDFC merger is going to take place, and this is going to be a major buzz in the banking circle. So the demand for chartered accountants in the M&A space is increasing day by day. Now, I have spent my career, the first 14, 15 years of my career in the Big Four, starting working with a number of multinational firms and completing my tenure as director and group head with one of the big five firms. And there I had the privilege of handling quite a number of valuations, mergers and acquisition, due diligence. So this is definitely going to help you in your career. This could be one of the opportunities. At the same time, on the darker side, we have some corporate governance complaints and allegations. All of you might have heard about the allegations which have been leveled in the case of National Stock Exchange, former managing director, and Bharat Pay and ABG Shipyard. So this provides a platform and a demand for forensic audit. And this is where chartered accountants are playing a vital role. The other area where many of you could be working is in the area of business turnaround. Tata has acquired Air India, and now they are in the position, they are in the phase of turning around a loss-making company into a profitable company. So with these type of companies which are providing excellent opportunities, you could also work in these avenues. You could capitalize on these avenues. The government is trying to bring Data Privacy Act, Cryptocurrency Act, and there is a huge importance being given to artificial intelligence, blockchain, and cloud computing, along with that big data. So this provides a platform for engaging yourself in digital transformation, and this is what ICAI has been doing. The institute has brought out concept papers on blockchain accounting and what will be the audit aspects in case of audit of cryptocurrency exchanges. So this is also, I would say, a sunrise sector, because the topic which I'm taking up is emerging. So I'm not talking about the traditional role like statutory audit and income tax or GST, but I'm focusing more on the emerging roles where you could have a meaningful career experience. So this is basically what is happening in the ecosystem. Now let us move into opportunities. First, many of the companies in the campus are offering core finance area. So this means that you could be working in Ind-AS environment. Some of the companies in the global campus of the institute are offering you IFRS profiles. So this is also a worthwhile opportunity. The other area is, I was just talking about HDFC merger. So due diligence, mergers and acquisition, transaction support, another specialized opportunity for chartered accountants, newly qualified CAs again. Corporate governance and CSR. Last week, SEBI has requested the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, ICAI, to design social audit standards. Why? Because the MCA, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, is going to come out with the idea of CSR audit. So this is a new opportunity for chartered accountants, corporate governance and CSR. So there are many firms, multinational firms, Indian firms, which are looking for young dynamic CAs like you so that you can explore this area, build up the practice and become an owner of a firm in the near future. Then coming to valuation. Our institute has created the RVO, Registered Valuers Organization. All of you know valuation is a primary area. Some of you must have done valuation in your articleship as well. So if you have worked in the field of valuation, you know that valuation is important under the Companies Act, Income Tax Act. Valuation is required even under SEBI guidelines. Valuation is required under indirect taxes, and therefore valuation means definitely an accountant and auditor is required. So the ICAI has been the first in India to formulate valuation standards, and these valuation standards are compulsory for every chartered accountant who are providing valuation services under the Companies Act. Plus, the Institute has created Valuation Standards Board. You can kindly have a look at the website rvoicai.org. Then we have sustainability services. You have read about energy audit. You have read about environmental audit. Multinational firms are looking for chartered accountants to help them in ESG. What is ESG? E for environment, S for society, G for governance. So every company is now going into integrated reporting, as Amit ji was mentioning in his session a couple of minutes back. So there is a tremendous opportunity for chartered accountants working in the area of environmental audit, energy audit, sustainability audit, and multinational firms, the big four, the big seven firms have vacancies for newly qualified CAs in these areas. Parallelly, I'll also tell you the ICAI has created the SRSB, Sustainability Reporting Standards Board. So this is where the Institute is also thinking, and the chartered accountants are exploring these opportunities. Going into tax planning. Now, taxation is broadly, as I understand, is basically two layers of taxation. First is tax compliance, and the second is tax planning, structuring of transactions, and the third area which you could think of in the long term is the area of dispute resolution and handling litigations. So this is an area both in direct tax and indirect tax, plethora of opportunities. Currently, I'm not taking any names, but almost 6 to 7 companies in the campus and in the off-campus, outside the campus, they have opportunities for fresh qualified chartered accountants in the area of international taxation. Now, all of you have read and you have seen that the Government of India in the Union Budget 2022 has introduced crypto tax on the gains in cryptocurrency dealings in virtual digital assets. Plus, in CA Final, you have read about double taxation avoidance agreement. You have read about the BEPS, base erosion and profit shifting, OECD 15 principles. Many of you have worked in transfer pricing. So this is the future in taxation. So here again, if you want to specialize in taxation and build your career, please think of acquiring the further qualification from ICAI, and that is the certificate course in the field of international taxation. In the area of indirect taxes, the Indirect Taxes Committee of the Institute is very active. You can see the website idtc.icai.org. It will give you end-to-end, I will talk about inputs and knowledge to face any type of interviews, which is going to any interviews where you might be getting questions on indirect tax. To be really updated on a real-time basis, kindly go through idtc.icai.org. And this is an area where you could specialize in the area of GST, compliances, litigation dispute handling, authority for advanced rulings, advanced pricing agreements. So there are scores of opportunities. And there are quite a number of firms in the consulting sector, also mid-size and large Indian firms. They have opportunities all over the country where they are looking for young CAs like you to handle clients in the GST space. Coming to technology. Now, this session is possible due to technology. We have been observing, we have been witnessing a technology revolution in the last 10 years. Digital India, and with Digital India, technology consulting has become the top job. Are chartered accountants contributing here also? Yes, we are one of the topmost contributors in the digital space. Technology consulting, ERP implementation, information systems audit. Very recently, the RBI had debarred Paytm payments banned because of some IT issues, and they were advised to carry out information technology audit. Now, IAS audit, who will carry out IAS audit? It will be the chartered accountants who are qualified additionally as a systems auditor. So if you are completing your DISA qualification from ICAI, you could work both in the industry, also in practice in the area of technology consulting. There are a number of ISO standards, ISO 27001 on information system security, ISO 38500 on information technology governance, and you could become a lead auditor. Like I became lead auditor in many of these areas and continuing to work with several clients engaging in the field of information systems audit, cybersecurity audit, and so on. So this is yet another emerging professional opportunity for chartered accountants. The next is digital transformation. Now here again, blockchain, cloud computing, and RPA, robotic process automation, data science, and artificial intelligence. Now, even the institute is using artificial intelligence. Now, we have a standing board for the FRRB, Financial Reporting Review Board. FRRB is using the power of artificial intelligence in the process of review of financial statements of listed companies. Similarly, if you complete your DISA course or if you go for information systems audit course from any other institution, maybe the CISA or any other equivalent course, you could work in the area of data science, blockchain consulting, and cloud computing. Then there is one question from Krunal: what is better career option, whether industry or Big Seven? Now, in industry, what happens is you are getting a feel of one particular company. But in the Big Seven, what happens is you will be handling multiple clients, which means multiple pressures also. The work pressure could be more voluminous in a Big Seven, but the learning usually will be more, plus it's more dynamic role. It will involve more amount of interaction with clients. So you also learn how to handle clients, client relationship management. So that is basically the difference. CTC wise, when you talk about the compensation package, almost they are offering at par. And I'll share with you the recent campus figures. So for a starting salary, if you talk about, they're offering basically at par. But then in the growth phase, ultimately the state at which you can increase your compensation in the Big Four, in the Big Seven, would be ideally little more than what you get in the industry. So that's how the growth takes place. But then in Big Seven, be ready to handle extra pressure, continuous traveling, and you need to be flexible and adaptive under all circumstances. Ruby Singh has a question: what do you think about social impact assessment? Yes, social impact assessment is now coming, and social audit, as I mentioned, is the new buzzword. Right now, the success of a company just cannot be measured by numbers. Now, when you think of the house of Tatas, when you think of Mr. Ratan Tata as a business leader, well, Mr. Ratan Tata may not be the richest business leader in India, but at least he is credited as the most respected, one of the most respected, renowned business leaders, not just in India, abroad. Why? So it is not the money which he has earned. It is also the commitment which he has towards this society. And the House of Tatas is known for their strong corporate social responsibility. So social impact assessment is important. And now to measure, the matrix to measure a company is not just how much of cash flow you are generating or your free cash flow, FCFF or FCFE or your EPS, but ideally it has become, the index is now covering three broad areas: profitability, people, how much of people, I mean the happiness index of the workforce who are there in the company, and the third of course is the commitment. Are you actually reducing your carbon footprint, or is the company harnessing renewable energy? All of you know about the COP26 summit, and you know that India has a tryst. India has promised that by 2030 we are going to reduce our carbon emissions and we are going to focus more on electric vehicles. So this is what is going to take place, and social impact assessment is an area where chartered accountants are increasingly working. I myself have been working for a long time in the area of business responsibility reporting, which is clause 55 of the listing obligations, listing guidelines, and also working a lot with companies in the area of sustainability reporting and impact assessment. Going to the next area, forensic. Many of you have heard about, or maybe you have worked in forensic audit so far, but now there is a tremendous opportunity. The Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, and SFIO, they have empaneled quite a number of chartered accountants, and therefore forensic audit, including services like ethical hacking, Vulnerability assessment and penetration testing could be an area where young CAs could specialize. Also, the ICAI is the first in the world to introduce forensic accounting and investigation standards, which is called FAIS. 23 standards have been issued by the ICAI, making it the only institution in the world to introduce forensic accounting standards. And we have the FAFD course, Forensic Accounting and Fraud Detection course, which you can take up if you want to specialize in this domain. Quite a number of multinational firms, including industry, including the banks, because banks are looking for chartered accountants who can handle cases of money laundering, because you know in the banking sector, one of the risks is money laundering, terrorist financing. So this is an area where chartered accountants are playing a vital role. Wealth management, financial planning, and portfolio management services. Yes, another area for you. Also, business advisory services, companies in the management consulting domain, like when you think of Boston Consulting Group, McKinsey and Company, Bain and Company, the multinational firms, they have opportunities in design thinking, preparation and formulation of business excellence services, shared services, and change management. So this could be another area. Going to the last few sectors, risk advisory. Now, risk advisory, many of you must have been shortlisted by companies in the campus which are providing risk management and risk advisory services. So this will involve internal audit, internal financial control, implementation of risk management, and there is a standard on risk management which is used internationally, and that is ISO 31000. Plus, many of you have read about Sarbanes-Oxley compliance. SOX is a particular type of profile which several companies are offering, and you also need to have some knowledge of PCAOB, Public Company Accounting Oversight Board. So these are the areas. Moving to the last two areas, transaction advisory services. Yes, upcoming opportunity. Thanks to the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, ICAI has created Section 8 company which is called IIIP, Indian Institute of Insolvency Professionals. You can see the website iiipiCai.org. So as an insolvency professional, you will be handling a wide area. You have already seen companies like Bhushan, for example, Jet Airways, they have completed insolvency resolution process. Reliance Capital, Srei, they are undergoing resolution processes. So there is a tremendous opportunity. I'm sure some of you had experiences of assisting your senior in the area of insolvency bankruptcy code, that is the CIRP process, the corporate insolvency resolution process. So this will involve a plethora of opportunities and definitely is an emerging sector for chartered accountants. Here again, you have to do transaction audit. Some of you might be knowing that in course of transaction audit, you have to handle areas like the PUFE, whether the company has entered into preferential transaction, undervalued transaction, fraudulent transaction, and extortionate transactions. So this is yet another area. And thanks to the Institute and the Insolvency Bankruptcy Board of India, now as a fresh qualified CA, you can directly complete the GIP program, the Graduate Insolvency Program, and you can enroll yourself as a resolution professional. Whether you join the industry, Big 4, Big 7, or you join practice. So both the options are open to you. Global mobility services involves consultancy services which you are going to provide to large multinational enterprises in the area of ESOP planning, project analysis, PEMA compliances, payroll services, and outbound and inbound FDI. Mostly the multinational firms are the Big 7, and few of the multinational companies are having a number of opportunities currently on campus and off campus for these type of profiles. Organizational support services include certain areas where chartered accountants are providing their value-added service, especially human capital consulting. Many of the Big 7 firms have started with human capital consulting. They have started dedicated service lines, dedicated services in the area of activity-based costing, cost management, strategic financial modeling, and therefore those of you who are interested in finance, cost management, Six Sigma, total quality management, you could work in these sectors as well. Also, several companies are looking for chartered accountants to help in startup advisory. With the startup ecosystem becoming so strong in our country, there is a huge demand for startup advisors. A startup company has to complete so many compliances. So who will guide them? Who is going to handhold? It will be the chartered accountants. So startup advisory and family business consulting. Also, with India's focus on infrastructure, several organizations, both in banking In the non-banking finance NBFC sector and the Big Seven, they have opportunities in the infrastructure advisory, especially in the area of energy, railways, transportation, oil and gas, structuring of PPP, all of you know public-private partnership structuring, smart city development, defense, tourism, solid waste management, and water services, water solutions. For example, connecting the inland waterways. So infrastructure being a focus area of the Indian government, lot of organizations, multinational consulting firms are looking for chartered accountants, MBAs, CFAs to handle these type of work. Infrastructure advisory, project management, and project success measurement, impact measurement. So these are broadly, I've covered 17 major areas. Now let us have a look at the campus, a brief glance at the campus. The highest package in the institute campus has exceeded 70 lakhs. You can see this media coverage. CA ko 70 lakh ka package. 70 lakhs, highest package has been offered in the institute campus. So money is not going to be the, it's not going to stop the right candidate. Also, let us have a look at April 21 campus, and then we will see the last campus which institute organized. Just see the type of companies. Banking sector, the best companies are coming. You can see Flipkart, Indian Oil Corporation, Wipro, TCS, Infosys, the best of the best IT sector companies are coming. You also have a mix of both public sector and private sector, like you have NBCCL, National Building Construction Company, Axis Bank, Federal Bank. So number of young CAs who are planning to join the banking sector, you will get a lot of platform, a lot of space to enrich your career in the banking sector. Of course, the Big Seven, you can see PwC, EY, GT, RSM, Deloitte, KPMG, EY, all are there. So they are also having multiple service lines and they are recruiting a healthy number of chartered accountants. Apart from that, consulting, process consulting, technology consulting companies like Accenture is not falling far behind. Genpact, Accenture, Capgemini, they are also hiring left and right. Some of the largest engineering companies in the country like L&T, global company Olam International, HCL, Royal Enfield, Jindal Steel, JSW, ITC, Hindalco, Bajaj, Cipla, just a snapshot of the companies which have come in the April campus, both in the metro and in the non-metro cities. So from this you can see the tremendous balance between multinational companies and Indian companies, public sector and private sector. So this is the the platform which the ICI campus provides, and many of you will be joining these companies in the next few weeks. Now, looking at the highlights of the campus placement program regarding the number of success factors, this is as per the official records of the institute, and you can see in the April, May, and in the February, March campus, this was basically the performance. Number of jobs accepted, 700 out of 1807 in case of April, May campus, and in February, March campus, 2807 were declared successful. They accepted the offers out of 7,364 candidates. The highest package in the domestic placement also is visible to you, and the international placement, the highest offer was 32.76. So this was the success factor in the last year campus. Now we will look at October, November. Virtual interview. Just have a look at the companies, you will understand their profiles as well. Accenture, BPCL, Vedanta, Reliance Industries, you can see number of multinational firms. ICICI Bank has been dominating, which means there's a tremendous demand in the banking sector. Aditya Birla Capital. So you can see again in the area of iBanking, in the area of financial services, there is a wide opportunity for newly qualified CAs. ITC offers you broad profiles. It could be internal audit, taxation, business strategy, or finance. Mintra Jabong, then ICRA, KPMG, L&T, National Stock Exchange, I was mentioning about NSE a little while back, Yes Bank, Grant Thornton, Bharti Airtel, the best of the best. You name the sector and the companies are there, and it's all renowned companies, reputed organizations. So, and also those of you who are interested in the area of financial services and capital markets, you can also see companies like Anand Rathi Global Finance. There's one question from Sikruti, sir, if a fresher has interest towards insolvency, what should be his roadmap according to you? Well, for insolvency, first of all, you can immediately enroll for the GIP program, Graduate Insolvency Program. Please look at the website of IICA, Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, which is a body under the MCA. You will get the details of the GIP program, including the modules, The faculties are all, most of them are Big Four partners. They are heading the transaction advisory services. They are MDs of large companies, and many of them are IPs. They are insolvency professionals, trained IPs. So this will be one of the steps. And secondly, you can join companies, multinational firms, or even Indian large firms, even in practice, so that you can work in the area of transaction advisory, valuation, due diligences, transaction audit in case of insolvency. So this will be my suggestion to Sikruti if you want to enrich yourself in the area of insolvency and bankruptcy code. Also, companies which came in the last campus, you can see Tata Capital, Tata Projects, Barclays, Indigo has come after a long gap, Genpact, Infosys, ANZ Bank, Dr. Reddy's Labs. You can just see the excellent lineup of the companies, impressive companies have come. And the last round, you can see Oracle, Hitachi, Maruti, Credit Suisse, AirAsia, TRAI, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, Tata Steel, Muthoot Finance, LIC Housing Finance, Federal Bank, and so on. So it shows the commitment which industry has for the chartered accountants, and that is why regardless of the industry, the best companies are there. I have also shared with you the emerging professional opportunities, 16 to 17 professional sectors I have been discussing earlier in course of the presentation. Now coming to the last part, looking at the performance highlights, you can see in the last campus we had the best performances so far. The highest salary for domestic posting was almost 23 lakhs, and the highest salary for international posting it exceeded 33 lakhs. And out of 7,451 candidates, you can see almost 50%, 3,716 candidates were successful. They accepted the jobs. So this has been the hallmark of the ICI campus. Now, mental attributes, last but not the least, before you think of which area to specialize and what type of company to go for, right? Now, what will be your role? Okay, now there's one question from Ruby. GIP program costs 10 lakhs. Yes, Ruby, I am aware GIP program is a specialized course. But then even when people are going for MBAs from Premier B schools, many CAs after qualifying, they're planning to crack the CAT exam. Well, an MBA from any of the Premier B schools, I guess, would not cost less than 15 lakhs. 15 to 20 lakhs, some of the IIMs are charging more than 20 lakhs. So you can, if you're interested in specialization, then either you have to wait for 10 years and then complete the limited insolvency exam. Otherwise, you can use the GIP route and you could try for educational loans. Just as it's not possible for everyone to fund themselves, even if they want to go for MBAs from IIMs and top B schools, well, it's not possible to fund unless you get an educational loan. So definitely some of the courses are like, for example, if you want to go for a specialized course in the area of technology consulting, artificial intelligence, blockchain, it could cost you anywhere between 3 to 4 lakhs. So either you get educational loans, or sometimes the companies which you are joining might also sponsor these courses. Now, some of the mental attributes which you need to have is growth mindset. Several companies in the campus, the HR people, in course of our interaction, and as a consultant or as an auditor, whenever I interact with clients and especially their HR department, I try to get an idea about what exactly they're looking for. Now, technical skills is definitely important. The first strength will be your technical skills, but at the same time, smart risk. You have to take risk. You all have seen the movie, the dialogue, famous dialogue, all of you know, risk hai to ishq hai. So risk taker, you need to be a risk taker, but then calculated risk. Externally focused, you must be updated. Performance driven, every company, whichever company you join, even if you want to come to practice, if you want to start your own organization, startups, there also you need to be performance driven and fast and agile. Experimenting, failing if required, but then getting up and fighting once again, plus bringing solution instead of problems. Last but not the least is taking ownership for whatever acts, whatever actions we do, whatever actions, initiatives we take, ultimately ownership is on us. Plus, every organization looks for professional ethics, strong resilience, so that you can handle ups and downs in life, and loyalty towards the organization. So these are the mental attributes, because now you are brand ambassadors of ICI. Lastly, the checklist with which we will complete, please follow your personal interest. There are so many areas, from information technology consulting to insolvency, from forensic audit to arbitration. Please follow your personal interest. If you feel that, no, I cannot handle a high pressure job, I cannot handle this type of, traveling, I cannot take too much of traveling. Well, try to focus on personal interest. There's one question from Vishal. I want to make a career in internal audit. Just wanted to know, if I join internal audit department, will it be easy to shift from financial services to manufacturing company in future, or would you recommend me to stick with financial services sector? It is better to join. See, financial services will be a great area because now a lot of changes are coming. All of you are aware that there'll be changes in the financial services roadmap. The government is planning to introduce digital currency. There are a lot of changes coming in, enabling changes are coming in the entire ecosystem for banking, for insurance and financial services, as we call it BFSI. So internal audit could be a great area. It's a focal area for companies, and every company is giving the due importance to internal audit. In fact, Vishal, internal audit is now known as GRC, Governance, Risk and Compliance. And therefore, with the focus, and also if you look at the Institute of Chartered Accountants has been the first to introduce internal audit standards, which means internal audit is an area to specialize. Therefore, I would advise you to, if you have an interest in internal audit, you can stick to the sector, and bank and financial services would be a good area to start with, because in internal audit of a bank, you will be handling diverse areas from credit, sanctioning, disbursement, follow-up, to loan, to deposits, from treasury, to anti-money laundering, information technology, to housekeeping, and remittances, of course. So a broad area you would be handling, and later on you can move from internal audit and transition yourself as the chief risk officer of the bank as well. So that is definitely important and could be a viable option. So coming to the professional domain, please follow your personal interest. Look at your core competence like Ruby, Sikruti, Krunal. Many of them asked questions and they wanted to clarify about their core competence. If you feel that you have an interest in tax, follow the tax. If you feel that no, I am interested more in academics, I want to become a professor, well, become an academician. There is no harm in that. How much a person is going to earn does not matter. Learning, contribution, satisfaction ultimately will overtake who is getting how much of salary. CTC comes and goes, money comes and goes, but in the long term it's satisfaction. Many of us, we left partnerships in Big Fours and we have not regretted. So many of us left willingly, of course, after leading Big Fours or Big Five at the very apex level and handling some of the biggest clients, but then we thought that why not experiment with something different? So you never know where life takes you, and therefore follow your heart, follow your core competence and capabilities, and look at growth opportunities in that industry, in that company, and then decide before you join. Look at the travel and time commitments. Several companies in the interview will ask you about how you handle time management. If possible, do ask them about the traveling requirements. Some company will tell you in the campus interview that we have 20% traveling, 30% traveling. So please clarify about the time and the traveling constraints. And also try to look at the timings, because some of the companies like Genpact, Accenture, Capgemini, PwC, Ernst & Young, GDC, the offshore companies might have different timings because they are catering to US clients, Canadian clients, and also they are catering to clients outside India. So they may have a different time zone. So please do focus on that. Interviewers will ask you a lot of questions, but I guess you also should have few questions which you can clarify from the interview panel before you say yes, before you show your approval to join the company. Also try to connect in LinkedIn and upgrade your profile, update your profile. Why? Because several companies, HR departments are going to look at your LinkedIn profile before they shortlist you. ICAI post-qualification courses will be very vital for you, whichever area you select, whether you want to be in practice you have to go for DISA qualification. If you want to be in taxation, you need to go for international tax qualification from the institute. If you want to be a valuer, there is a course on valuation. Also, if you want to become an expert in internal audit risk management, you need to complete a course. Similarly, for Indian accounting standard, for sustainability reporting. So there are more than 20 professional post-qualification courses offered by the ICAI for the members, and these are in high demand. I can tell you that. And this is the importance of continuous education. So as a CA, the learning starts. That's why we are all students. I am enjoying, I'm learning from all of you. I've been listening to my earlier speakers. Learning is continuous exercise. So please remember, we need to run. R for reskilling, U for upskilling, and N for new skilling. And this is where I'm also sharing, many of you are asking the question in the MCS, in orientation, in several platforms, sir, how to be updated. Now, I know all of you are busy. I will not advise you to open every newspaper in the morning while having a cup of tea. It's not possible. You are all digital. You are the next generation. You are the digital, I will call it the Gen Next. So digitally, you need to be updated. Some websites. Now, first of all, please go through ICAICA Tube, the YouTube channel, and just subscribe to the channel. You will get updates. Several updates are coming on technical areas. Institute is conducting so many seminars where luminaries are coming. Maybe they are speaking on the union budget. They are speaking on, say, for example, the recent changes in corporate governance. They are speaking on accounting standards. They are speaking on forensic audit. So kindly go through ICAICA Tube, the best way to update. Second is, there is another website, ICAITV.com. You will get a lot of video stuff here. So kindly go through this as well. Last but not the least, the Professional Development Committee of the Institute has a website, pdicai.org. Kindly log on to this website. You will get updates on corporate affairs. You will get updates about quarterly performances, how the markets are performing, the stock markets, commodity markets, money markets. You will also get professional opportunities and networking platforms. So please do follow that. Nikhil has one question. How do I pursue a career in iBanking? Well, you could join any of the large companies which are in the field of financial services, but then companies like Barclays, Credit Suisse, Goldman Sachs, HSBC Securities, say for example Citigroup, also some of the multinational firms, consulting firms are offering IB services, but then you need to take into consideration first 1 or 2 years could be back end, and then you will move into a more client facing role. And iBanking is a broad area, so you should be clear about the exact job role. Is it due diligence? Is it financial statement analysis? Is it equity research? Is it rating? So you need to be clear about all these questions before you think of joining the company. So this is basically what I had to share. And I'd only say that the way to success has no abbreviation. There is no shortcut in life. So definitely you have reached an apex at this stage, but it is just one of the peak. The next peak is your success in your professional career. So do enjoy and have an elite career ahead. Be proud to be a chartered accountant and always hold the flag of the institute high and make sure you get the desired pace and the privilege in the industry. Serve the industry, serve the profession well, so that you can gain credibility, you can gain respect, and most important, you can be happy in life. So with that, I'll close the session. And Ranganathan sir, if there are any other questions, I'll take up, and hope I've been able to discuss and focus on the topic which was assigned to me. Just stopping the presentation, sir.
Fantastic, sir. It was marvelous. In fact, I was very impressed with the kind of research you had done on the institute and particularly about our committee's work. Thank you so very much, sir. There is only one question, sir, in case you have got time to take up.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Nikhil wants to know how he can pursue career in investment banking. If you can.
Yeah, sir, I have already discussed that. Sir, yeah, sir, I've already addressed that. I have answered Nikhil's query. I have already done that, sir.
Very well, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And it was a wonderful experience, sir.
Thank you.
And we will definitely look forward to having you in future also. For me,
Thank
also,
you,
it was
sir.
like
Thank
a great
you.
learning, sir. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Bye, sir.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. And thank you,
Bye,
participants. And we wish you all the best for your interviews. Act with confidence. We really hope that the three speakers plus the Central Council members who had addressed you will stand you in good stead in the interviews. Thank you so very much. Bye-bye. Best wishes.